wondering why it's only after dark.
Hi guys, it's After Dark on a Sunday night. That can only mean one thing. It's the APAT show, and the end of your poker week is nigh. We've got Glenn Townsend in the house. Glenn's going to be looking at your squads and roller play and talking about all things poker and much more besides. Stick with us. Glenn, Lee and I will be back right after this. Lee! It seems like no time at all since he was on before, but our guest tonight was back in May. Crikey.
It does seem a long time ago. I've desperately was trying not to laugh when you played that little bit of music to start with and put that photo up. And I'm not sure whether that bit of music or that photo quite work together. But anyway, a warm welcome back to the show. Glenn Townsend, how you doing, sir?
Hi, guys. I'm all good. How are you guys?
We're good, Glenn. I have to say now, I don't know if you've seen the picture we're using of you tonight. You look a little bit sad in there. Have you seen it on Facebook yet?
So, yeah, it looks like that was a photo taken during lockdown 1, where I was on a walk in Yorkshire, through Derbyshire and Yorkshire.
Well, like a healthy walk at a sort of a happy time?
I mean, I did a lot of walking during the first lockdown, but that's not the most flattering of pictures of me on said walks, to be honest.
I have to say, Glenn, I liked it because immediately it shouted to me attitude, right? And we like our guests on a Sunday night to have some attitude. We've had lots of attitude over the weeks, and we're looking forward to some more tonight. But Lee, listen, Lee, I've got a problem. I've been looking around for the stream, and I can't find it. Now I know it's going out, but I haven't a clue where, Lee. Have you seen it anywhere? Have you found our stream?
You're okay. I've got the stream. So if you're in the chat tonight, guys, do give us a shout out so we can give you a shout out back, say hello to you. But Mr. Lou Brush Shug was the first one in the chat tonight, saying evening, guys. Hi to you, Shug. How are you doing? Obviously part of the Poker Squad's team at the top of the table for looking for the hat trick this week. Ace is also in as well. Ace has been playing all the advent calendar, adding value to the advent calendar games, he would say, so far this week. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. Mr. Wigglesworth is in the house tonight. So my Pete Wigglesworth story for the day.
Oh, here we
go.
go.
So I was out walking the dog earlier on, get a message on my phone. It's Pete. Obviously, I react immediately because obviously, you know, VIP Pete, we've got to find out what he needs. And he just said, all the message was saying the hot streak continues, and with a picture. So I was like, oh right, okay. So I've looked, enlarged it up on my phone to have a look, and he won this afternoon's Daily Splash, APAT Daily Splash on a Sunday. Nice. Yeah, he beat the other two runners that weren't doing anything else at 3:00 on a Sunday afternoon for $15. So big winner, Pete. $15 in the bankroll.
Lee, it all counts, right? As somebody
I think he won last night's DTD splash as well.
He did win last night. That's where I was going to go with it. Glenn was the reason he was no. You're fight. The reason he was saying a hot streak continues is because he had a bit. So how much did he win last night, Glenn? Do you know how much it was?
It would have been about £600 plus a seat to the Super 50, I think.
Really?
Yeah. And that's not an easy tournament, that DTD splash one, is it? To win?
No, it's a different one that we put. We don't do many rebuys in terms of DTD live or online, really, of DTD. And I put this one in on a Saturday night, and it seems like the guys enjoy it. So, a bit of a tough crowd as well, though.
Yeah, not easy to say the least. So Pete's having a good week. Tristan Chaplin says, hi, guys. Evening all. Hi to you, Tristan. Greg Mawson's also in the chat. Ace has come back and said he's up this week in the Advent calendar games, apparently. So I was railing their stud final table on Thursday, and maybe Asa can give some more details. But there was Asa was there. There was Michelle Gascoigne was on that final table as well. Joe Carhill was on that final, and there was a chap from Sweden called Mikkel Grunvik who ended up winning.
Great
Typical,
name.
isn't it? So typical. So I've got Asa, Michelle, Joe, and a guy from Sweden, and one of them's going to get some chocolates that I've got to post out. Yeah, how well do I run? The guy from Sweden wins. Yeah, so but they were having. I mean, I'm sure Ray should say the banter on that final table on Thursday night in a game of stud was superb. They were in there was a lot of emojis, Des, being thrown around the table. I tell
Don't
you.
like that, Lee. We don't like that, or do we like it
we're
this
not.
week? I can't remember. It's one of the
I'm not
two.
sure what it is, yeah. Frank Bailey's in there as well. He says, evening, guys. So we'll get you posted on. Shall I run through what we got going on, Des?
Oh, let's
'Cause,
do it, Lee. I found the stream.
You found the stream.
Yeah,
now.
look, I had
Good
to
work.
change phones. Lee. How I couldn't find it on my other phone.
You have more phones than
Oh, yeah,
anyone I
you know,
know. Yeah,
obviously,
it is
you know.
ridiculous.
They're all
It's a
quite old.
Sunday night,
They're all
yeah.
quite old.
It's a Sunday night, guys. Anyway, so we will be concentrating on the Sunday roller as we normally would, but we've got something else going on before that. So Sunday roller tonight is 76 runners. We're paying the top 10. It's $634 up top.
Very
but
nice.
not only that, Mr. Duffy, not only that, because Glenn and myself are dug deep into the Advent calendar sack for tonight, because the roller is an Advent calendar promo tournament tonight. And out we've popped with a beautiful Christmas box of Hotel Chocolat.
Nice.
Chocolates. So they are added on for the winner as well. So they'll be getting the Christmas chocolate box as well. Whoever wins that got a claim on either the Dusk Till Dawn forum page or post, or the APAT group post, whichever one you're with. Doesn't really matter which, but you need to post on there to claim. If you don't claim, you don't get the prize, I'm afraid.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking at a swizzy bit of artwork on the screen, Lee. It says over £1,500 in added prizes. Nice promo. So, love the fact that we're doing some stuff with Dusk Till Dawn, with the Dusk Till Dawn community.
Well, Glenn and I, we talked about it, didn't we, Glenn? And we wanted to do, we just wanted to do something back for the community, didn't we? Building up to Christmas, really. So, we had a bit of a chat. Yeah.
Yep. And thrashed it all out. It was, it's one of those things where I've wanted to do a live version of it as well, where we've got like a presentation of prizes at the front of the club when people come in. And, we're going to be adding one of those prizes. So I thought, we could still bring it to the online side of it this year. And it's running quite nicely. Some good prizes in there as well.
Very nice.
Hey, last night, right? We gave away, and I think it's worth about 150, 160, something like that pounds, a Beats Pill speaker. So it's a wireless, kind of Bluetooth speaker, but obviously it's a Beats speaker, so it's got some proper oomph and volume. So you are gonna smash some tunes out on this Beats speaker. It's going to be impressive. Do you know who's won it?
Who's won it?
Jeff Talbot.
I love it. And why not? Jeff has
Exactly.
been the rock and roll of poker squads over the last 8 months. I have to say, why not?
Exactly. So that's that one's going on. So that was one last night, but we've still available to win. There's a couple of Apple HomePod minis. There's a bunch of Beats Flex headphones. There's another Monster headphones there. I think some more chocolates. There's some great ticket prices. So we'll talk a bit more later on about this, but Glenn's you can win a ticket to every one of the Dusk Till Dawn Christmas schedule tournaments, which is worth how much, Glenn? How much is that?
It's going to be about 160 quid worth of tickets, I think, total.
Wow. I thought you were going to say 160,000 there for a minute. I thought, whoa.
It will be a ticket. It'll be 7 tickets in total. Every single one of our
absolutely
Christmas
great
tournaments.
Yeah. Do you know, guys?
So we've got a ticket for every Poker Squads game in January. Somebody can win 31 Poker Squads tickets. Is one of the prizes.
That's like a passport to Poker Squads for the whole of January.
Yeah, we've got another one. You can play every roller in January. So all 4 of them. You'll have a ticket for each of those as well. So loads of stuff in that. So we'll talk a bit more about that later on. Obviously, Poker Squads is going on tonight. The Celtic Storm guys.
Lee, hold on. We can't. I can't let you leave that prize pool without telling you my story, right? because the
Oh, right,
company,
okay,
the
go,
company
go.
that I used to work for, they used to, sell a lot of headphones. You will know this, right? They used to sell a lot of headphones. Beats being one of the brands they used to sell across the UK. And on the day that I left them, they gave me a goodie bag of lots of stuff. They were really nice. They went around the warehouse. They picked out stuff, that hadn't sold for many, many years. And they gave me, a couple of items.
Got the
And
dust.
it was
Got
very
the
pleasing.
dust off it. Yeah. Like, yeah.
No, they left the dust on the back. Anyway, so in the sort of bunch of goodies they gave me was this just heavy, colorful package that said Beats Studio headphones, and they looked amazing. They were red, which obviously is my favorite color. They looked just great, and of course, with them being Beats premium brand, you'd expect them to be fantastic. So I managed to get the package home, and in fairness, it took me a couple of days, but I got them out. I plugged them in, and I put big audio on, and I didn't hear anything. They were rubbish. The sound was terrible. And it took me a few minutes to figure out that actually, because they were studio headphones, all the sound was coming out. The sound's meant to come out, not go into your ears. How the hell does that work? Have you ever heard of such a thing? They were useless. They were absolutely useless. You couldn't use them as headphones. They'd have been better as speakers. No, honestly,
back
Lee.
to front or something.
Well, that was the moral judgment I had to make. Do I actually break these things to turn them back to front so that I can actually get some use from them? I think it was the last kick up the arse I got from that company. I tell you what, I'm gonna have to sort that out at some point in future. But anyway, you were telling us about tonight's squads and how tight everything was.
I've got to rattle through because we're on a special deadline that I'll get to in a second. So so squad tonight, Celtic Storm are going for the hat trick. They probably look unbeatable this week, Des, if I'm honest. I know famous last words, but yeah, it is looking a little bit
just a question on Celtic. A question on. Now I know I'm interrupting you. I know we got deadlines, but this is the way we roll, right?
Go.
So because I wasn't looking at the actual chat log when you were reading out some of the comments there, I was obviously trying to find it. When you said lube rush, what I thought you said was lube rush. Now I just want to leave that. I just want to leave that thought in your head. Carry on.
Lovely, thanks for that. Yeah, no, much appreciated.
That's what I heard.
On the MVP, Michelle Gascoigne was top of that.
Yeah, it's fantastic
for this week, but had a couple of players hot on her heels and a few others that could win it. So we'll keep a track on all that later on. But back to the advent calendar. So on Tuesday, Des, we was the 1st of December, and our very first prize was whoever won the heads up at 7:00 on Tuesday night would get the chance to play a special guest heads up on this show for a £50 cash prize.
Yeah.
So that was the plan. And of course, as you know how this works, all the best plans in the world normally completely fall flat on their face somewhere. Well, our two contestants got to the final the final of that tournament, and it basically froze. And to this day, they're still sat at that table, just chatting. They've just got the chat box to communicate. They've not been allowed to leave. They've been in absolute isolation. So since Tuesday, they've been just in isolation, ready to.
They've been in APAT lockdown.
We told them it was a glitch with the system. What they don't know is actually we just wanted to hold. It was like the November 9. We just wanted to hang fire until the Sunday to bring the guys back. But basically, we brought them both back to play for the £50 tonight. So we've got Brendan Byrne and Simon Brooke, who are both registered up with about 4.5 minutes to go. You'll find the tournament in the lobby, guys. We're gonna follow it as soon as it goes live. But basically, these guys are playing for 50 quid cash.
Love it.
As part of the advent calendar promo. So
a little bit of drama, a little bit of something different tonight, guys. So I think that'll be cool to look forward to in about 4 minutes. The guys will kick off. How are we doing elsewhere, Lee? So you're telling me that Michelle is going for MVP. She's leading tonight. Is Mom anywhere around? Nelly anywhere sort of close by, or is Michelle completely taken over this week?
No, Michelle's had a really good week. She was on the final table of the stud event on Thursday as well, but she's had some really, really good results this week. So it'd be nice if she could see this through to a win. I haven't
very popular
caught up on the updates yet, so I'll see. I'm not sure where she is in tonight's tournament yet, but we'll catch up on all of that in due course. So, but she does have Frank and Brendan hot on her heels. And yeah, if they're two players you know are going to be able to consistently go reasonably deep in the tournament.
It seems guaranteed every week that we get a bit of drama in this particular event, right? Sunday night on the APAT show, Poke Squads, MVP, and the squads leaderboard. There's always drama, right? It nearly always goes to the final table. Sometimes it goes to heads up.
So we're down to 12 in the Sunday roller. So that's paying top 10, which I may not have mentioned earlier on. We still got 41 in squads at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that. Glenn, have we had every prize claimed yet? The only one I don't know about. Did anyone claim the Monster headphones earlier on in the week in the end?
I don't think they did. There was one that came through Twitter, which I was okay.
Yeah, no, we got that one. Yeah, no. So I don't think the Monster headphones got claimed.
No, I think there's just one that's unclaimed so far.
Was that the one I won, Lee?
Oh yeah.
Was that my headphones?
Yeah.
Tell me, Glenn, where does this sound come out of those Monster headphones? Does it come out of where it's meant to?
It depends which way you put them on, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh,
Listen,
Ace is
guys.
telling me that Michelle's already out tonight, apparently.
Oh dear.
Oh,
well,
dear.
that's
Which
the way it
means,
goes for MVP leaders. The drama happens when you go out early. So elsewhere in the chat box, let's see what else we've got. Dan Lowe's watching with us. Hi to you, Dan. Peter Wigglesworth said, a very good field, but excellent value tournament, £11. Dan says, evening all. Peter talks about £10 rebuys. Greg Mawson puts up a little Swedish flag. Asa says, that Thursday evening was hilarious. Which Thursday evening was that, Lee? We must have discussed that.
The stud game on Thursday night.
Oh, the stud game, right.
Yeah.
Biggest stud game on Party, I believe. In the world.
It is the largest stud game.
In
You
the
will
world.
not find a bigger stud game.
And you know what?
I warn you, I've got major warnings for next week's stud game, by the way. I should warn you now, because a certain gentleman by the name of Peter Thorpe.
Thorpe, I saw that.
He found out about it.
He says, what the hell is this stud game on Party? Well, why didn't I know? Glenn, why didn't he know? He's one of your regulars,
I have no idea
right?
why he didn't know. He's usually the first person to know everything like that.
It's the biggest stud game on Party. Quite why men the master when isn't in it every week is beyond me. Gary Young. Gary Young is also there. Gunther Syrinx is there. Says, evening peeps. Evening to you, Gunther. Harjit Singh joins us. Dean Pearson. Stuart Kinghorn. Corey Roseby says, evening, guys. Evening to you, Corey. Kelly Beecham is there. Brendan says, the big time woo. And you are indeed in the big time now, Brendan. Let's hope your performance matches the occasion. Igor Asimov is there. Evening all. Evening to you, Igor. Frank is currently leading the MVP. I thought it was Michelle. So is that based on performance so far tonight?
I think it'll be so far tonight on the fact that Frank is still in. So.
Got it.
So what do you reckon then, guys? So we got this heads up starting in about 20 seconds. How long is it going to last? How long do you think it's going to last? About
20 seconds.
Do you reckon?
I think it'll be fast and furious.
I think they'll take this seriously. I think this. I was going to go for about 15 minutes, maybe 15, 16 minutes.
No, £50 to these gentlemen is just small change, pocket change. No.
3 levels, finishing level 3.
Finishing level 3, you reckon? Okay. That's the way to do it. Is where's the knockout? It's like boxing, isn't it? Where's the knockout going to be? Here we
level
go.
One.
So
level 1, friends. Trust me. I know Simon Brook.
I'll go level 2 then in that case. So,
let's do it. Here we go. And the winner gets a pair of Monster headphones.
Yeah. Are you having the cash then? Yeah.
Okay, so we're away. It is up and showing, guys.
Yeah, so basically, they've it's the same structures we normally have on a Tuesday night. So it's 10,000 starting stack. It's on an 8-minute clock. So there is a good bit of play. I've watched these go on for, I think the longest one's been about 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes. So they're not normally much more longer than that, but they're being very polite in the chat at the moment, wishing each other good luck.
I've actually seen a couple of folds. I can't believe it. I mean, there was a raise of 50 chips and I think somebody folded. What the hell? They're going to lose us our audience, Lee. What's going on?
Not what you need.
Don't they know Glenn, we've got 7 people in?
Yeah. Glenn, so this is obviously a little bit unusual because it's a heads up where you're starting with exactly the same stack, which is very rare that happens in a tournament style. And obviously these guys know each other. So there shouldn't really be much kind of trying to sounding out how each other play, I would imagine, because they've played it against each other for years and years now. So
No,
is it just
I mean,
like
if
foot
anything,
down and aggression on a free roll?
yeah, some early aggression. Why not? It's a free roll. It's an added prize, and it's bragging rights as well, I suppose. So yeah,
I think that's
some early aggression. It's good to see.
Well, I tell you,
I mean,
And Asa reckons maximum of one pair wins it. Shug reckoned it was going to be 3 hands. Well, we're past 3 hands
I'm
already.
with the guys.
So
Listen, I'm with the guys. But both of these gentlemen have represented their countries in APAT WCOAPs. So if they take it seriously, this could easily go to level 3.
This is England versus Ireland. This is it's got so much right.
I never thought of that.
Jamie Kay's Jamie Kay's
Fold them, Brendan. Fold them.
Saying the Thorpe train is coming. So
I saw that.
stud event next week. So definitely,
I'll be back.
That's the case. Yeah. I played the Dust Till Dawn tournament earlier on. Oh, absolute sickener. You shouldn't make
Played
up the big blind. Yeah, hugely.
Definitely sounded past tense. Definitely.
There was a raise under the gun, and I decided to flat with I think it was 4-5 offsuit in the big blind. The board comes down. I think it was 4-5-7. So I slow played it beautifully. 3 on the turn. I'm a little bit worried, but I'm not overly bothered. Queen on the river. Get it all in, and he's got ace-6 for the straight. Like under the gun raise with ace-6. I don't know. These Dust Till Dawn players, eh?
I'll tell you, amateurs, Lee. Amateurs.
That was a Super 50.
Good, but there are some good tournaments. Yeah. There's some good.
The Super 50 bounty. Yeah, I've sort of started to vary that Super 50 up because obviously we were just running it in 8 max format, but I'm trying to give it a different format. I'm running it as a PKO or a bounty, like trying to give something different every week now. So
it's
it
nice.
looks like
it's a little bit
tonight,
flexible.
Yeah, tonight is
look at Mr. Brook there with a pocket king. What a flop that was for him. Probably got paid as well. I don't know. Actually, I'm trying to think whether he could have got any more value out of that. Possibly not. I think Brendan probably got away as cheap as he probably could. Brendan comes back in the chat saying that makes sense. Yeah. If you've got pocket kings and the board comes down king, deuce, jack, you're kind of liking that, aren't you? This clock's going very slow here.
Listen, guys, the poker is all good and well. Let's discuss that tune I played at the top of the show just for a moment. So, I mean, first and foremost, can anybody even remember it? No, that sounds about right. Can you remember it, Lee? Where did they come from?
I know.
Shall I play a little? Shall I play a few bars
I know where it comes from. See, remind people.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to play this for the audience. Right, there might be a pair of headphones in this for you. Unfortunately, they'll be my studio headphones. They have a great reversing feature that you'll find quite unique. Do you recognize this song? Sounds like a Tarantino number, Lee.
Sure does.
I'm not sure we need to play anymore. I think you either know it from that intro or not. So if you know the song, guys, we only played a few bars there, but it was at the start of tonight's video. Just put in the chat box what you think it is, where it's come from. Great song.
Simon Brookie says shaking all over. I'm not sure whether that's referring to how his poker's going
nervous.
Tonight, or
he's nervous of playing an Irish poker player.
Yeah, is that what it is? He's worried that he's nervous because he's got a 3-1 chip lead, and obviously Simon is notoriously known for coming second in events.
I'll tell you why. He's just ordered a drink, Lee. I'm not sure I'm having one of them. It's like out of I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. It's a hippie shake.
I'm going to my happy place.
Turfmoor. Love
dear,
it.
Oh dear. So yeah, 3-1 chip lead here now. Simon's got. I mean, this should be in the bag, shouldn't it? Now, really?
It's far too early. Far too early.
You don't lose it from here, do you? Surely not.
This'll go
You can't write him off this early.
This'll go 4 or 5 levels.
How can you write someone off that early?
Nice.
7 minutes of play. Well, it's done.
Loads of play.
I'm just waiting for. Can you get these on party where you can just throw the towel in? Is that an emoji?
Please, please. Please. Let me see if I can find the Rocky music somewhere.
Yeah.
That'd be good if you could get someone else to throw the towel in for you.
Yeah, exactly.
He's done. He's had enough.
Yeah, you can't take any more of this. There we go. Can we put that into a request into the development team? Yeah, see if we can get that.
Can definitely
added to the game.
Listen, guys, I've got superb news, particularly for Simon. Gunther wants to hear that sound again, so here we go. Oh no, it's not that. It's definitely not that. Let me press the right button. Is the show still on air, Lee?
Yeah, we're good at the moment. Facebook haven't pulled us yet. We're all right.
Again, I can't play anymore. You either know it or you don't. You either know it or you don't.
I knew the film pretty much straight away, but that's because I'm a fan.
Lee,
I'm
there's
a fan
always
of the
a link.
soundtracks. Yeah, and obviously,
there's a link, right?
Because I knew the film, the link was there for everyone as well.
So a link with our guest. Normally, if we have a guest on, and if time allows, and we find a little track, we like to link it in some probably quite bizarre way to our guest. And I think this is a little less bizarre than normal. Tristan Chaplin might know the answer. He might know the answer.
I was going to say, there could be people thinking now, well, I know the scene it's from. So is that what Glenn used to do before he started going into marketing?
Let me just put his picture back up. We'll have a look. Right. Look for those rippling muscles. If you don't see them, he didn't do that sort of stuff. Great song. I must admit, I get a little bit of flow. Get a bit of flow when that happens. Yeah, put that music on. Do you feel a bit Tarantino-like? Flow.
Okay, yeah.
It's not a lube rush. It's nothing like that.
No, I was going to say, I was wondering where you were going with that. We're one off the money in the roller as we're watching this. If anyone just tuning in, you're watching Simon Brooke versus Brendan Byrne playing heads up for £50 cash, which was the added value prize in the advent calendar on day one. One of these is going to go away with 50 quid added value tonight. So
I think Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan's got it.
So Lee, what you seen as you got it first time out. What was the movie?
So it's from Dusk Till Dawn.
And that's an obvious link
movie.
with our guest, Mr. Townsend, of course. Dusk Till Dawn, Supremo on the marketing front. And I couldn't remember the scene, I have to say. Tristan obviously does. Salma is in the scene looking mighty fine. And,
well, I said I thought it was Salma, and I couldn't remember whether it was. But it's towards the end of the film.
Gunther says blow, so let me just get a hanky.
But as I said to the guys, as Brendan's all in and gets that one through, he said to the guys, I think I've pretty much got every Tarantino soundtrack for all of his films. They are always very, very good.
Yeah, the group there, believe it or not, was Tito and Tarantula. That very well-known
Tito and Tarantula,
Mexico
yes.
pop topping, chart flopping duet, I think. It was the first time that a man and a small insect.
Yeah. I say I have to be very careful with that soundtrack because there are, for anyone that knows the film, there are a couple of vocal snippets off that are on the soundtrack. And occasionally they'll randomly get selected and blast out of a speaker at home, and not really appropriate for kind of home listening. But yeah.
Oh dear. But down in Dorset, it doesn't matter because nobody from Miles Nobody from mine.
No,
That's right.
no, we're okay. I very rarely see anybody, so that's okay. It's all good. Well, this has gone comfortably into level 2 here. Simon's taken the early lead and pretty much has had this 3-1 chip lead now for about the last 5 minutes, but doesn't seem to be able to quite finish Brendan off. He raised it up to about 400 a couple of hands ago, and Brendan just shoved all in. So I guess it's just waiting for one of those where Simon keeps the aggression on. Brendan thinks he's at it and finds that actually he's got a strong enough hand to make the call.
Simon is clearly adapting an incorrect strategy here, because as far as I can tell, we've spent the last several weeks telling chip leaders not to target the small stack.
Yeah, when it's heads up, Des, it's a different game altogether. So you probably missed that bit of the training. Yeah,
Damn.
So.
Didn't do the heads up module.
No, definitely not. So so Gunther in the chat. Hey, we made Gunther's week this week. We'll talk about it later on in the show as well. But he watched episode 6 of The Orbit with apparently two of his all-time favorite players.
Neat.
So he was a very happy person this week. So we'll talk a bit about that later on as well. As the bubble has burst in the roller, and it's our furniture expert Daniel Lowe, who unfortunately is the bubble boy tonight.
Unlucky Dan, unlucky. And we are going to in 2021, Lee. We're not going to refer to the furniture thing at all ever again. So that just gives us
is that like
25
your New Year's
days
resolution?
odd.
Yeah.
New Year's resolutions in early.
Wow. Yeah.
I like to get him in about March or April.
So
see what's left.
So we've got what? So we'll have 2 shows after this to talk furniture. Yeah, and then we're done.
Oh, it's all sad. That was one of the highlights of the year, I have to say.
There's been many on this show. It's quite mad. As I say, when for you guys, when just before Glenn came on, he messaged us to say, "Crikey, it was May since I was last on the show," and it does feel like 5 minutes ago. The year has just blown by, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
How have you found the period since? We've obviously had lockdown. We've come out of the lockdown. We've gone back in. We've sort of come back out again. Glenn, I mean, how has life been for you in that period?
In terms of actual personally, I managed to leave the country for a month and went and spent a month in Latvia.
Latvia, nice.
Yeah, it's where my girlfriend's from, so I went to visit her and her family.
Okay.
And at the time, COVID wasn't, I wouldn't say really a thing, but wasn't as prevalent in Latvia at the time. So life was very, very normal there, as in minimal social distancing, no masks, etc., etc. So to go away and live in that environment for a month and then come back was very, very strange to adapt to.
Yeah.
While I was there, I even travelled over the border to Estonia for a weekend, and there was a live event happening at a hotel casino in Estonia, in Tallinn. So I sort of walked in, and just to sort of see what it was like, and it was weird being in a live environment with people shuffling chips, and it was like what a different world. It was crazy.
Wow, that's amazing.
So and then I came back here, and obviously when I've come back here, we sort of eked ourselves back into lockdown too. So it was like getting out of lockdown and a month of almost normality, and then coming back into lockdown was a very strange transition. Yeah,
no, it is. And tell me how your girlfriend's parents over there now in Latvia, how are things over there right now?
Latvia is probably similar, or if not worse than we are at the minute. Okay. I think they've declared some sort of it's like they're in a similar lockdown situation to the UK.
Yeah.
So travel is restricted again and all things like that.
Very, very odd time. And of course, live was badly impacted, Glenn. But as we can see, you've been kept very busy with online because, certainly your team of work colleagues have put on an incredible array of online content over the last 8 months.
Is Ace 4 going to hold? Is Ace 4 going to hold? It does.
Wow, there you go.
It does, and that is done in 14 seconds at level 2 left.
Off.
I thank you very much.
You've won that by 12 seconds. Wow.
Thank you, Simon. He could have time banked, to be honest. He could have time banked it before making the call.
That's some sort of setup. Online is rigged.
Well done to you guys. Very well done. I'm just looking to where the payout's gone. If it's not, we'll make sure that it gets
Yeah.
into the right account. So
So
very
I
well
just-
done, Simon. And
well
cheers
done
for playing
to,
that as well, Brendan.
Yeah, well done to Brendan for winning there, because I intend to whitewash that result completely. Well done, Brendan. Unlucky Si. We'll send you £50 for your troubles.
We're one away from the final table of roller, so we'll carry on having a quick chat with Glenn, and then as soon as that hits the final table, we will Des might put a table up. So I was going to ask you,
table's
Glenn,
up.
has there been? I mean, has Dusk Till Dawn got close to having any sort of discussion about opening at all this year, or has it very much been not going to happen?
At the minute, if you look at the government restrictions in terms of Nottingham being in tier 3, it is probably quite, it is quite distant. We have had meetings. We are always ready, should we be allowed to reopen, to work out the best way to go about these things. But as it stands for now, Nottingham's in tier 3. I don't know if you saw they closed Nottingham Christmas Market this weekend. Nottingham is still in a bit. Yeah.
But that was crazy. Those pictures were insane, Glenn, really, when you think about, all the rules and regs that are in place. I mean,
considering Nottingham's in tier 3, they opened at the Christmas market, and I looked at other cities, and it looks like everyone else cancelled or didn't run theirs. So I think you may have had an influx of people from further afield also visiting. But obviously yesterday in Nottingham in general was very, very busy in the city centre, and some of the photos, I'm not surprised that they've closed it. But no, in terms of the club, obviously, everyone keeps in touch. Everyone's, ready should the time come. But for now, we've got to hold off.
Well, we had Rob on the Orbit a couple of months back, and I mean, he openly said on there, his view was he didn't think there would be major live festivals or big events until there was a vaccine. That was his particular view.
I think that's a fair comment. I mean, you've got to consider the vulnerability of people, and you've got to protect vulnerable people, and you can't be putting people at risk. So, when there is a vaccine and people start to be vaccinated, and some sort of immunity is built up to this, then people can start being a bit more open. It's trade-offs, isn't it? You've got to have a vaccine to be able to stop, other restrictions, which is completely fair in the situation that we're all in.
No, completely agree. And whilst we're just chatting there, we've lost our 9th place player in the Sunday Roller, so we will be very soon on a final table. And tasty looking final table it is, actually, looking at some of the names on there. Richard King is there, Corey Roseby, who qualified through earlier on in the week. So Corey's in there from a $3.30 ticket earlier on in the week. Elaine Cosgrove is on the final table. Elaine's been playing plenty of the poker squads in the past few months. Mark Steele's there. Donald Sloss. Donald was MVP, I think, a couple of weeks ago, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, Donald's had a good run.
Yeah, so, but yes, top 3 there, say Richard King, Corey, and Dan Houston. Yeah, so it should be a good final table. That is for sure. So how do you feel, obviously being a resident of Nottingham, when you see those kind of images, Glenn, are you a little bit like embarrassed and a bit like, oh, what you all doing, or do you think it's just a case of?
I'm always caught in two minds, because firstly, if the market wasn't open in the first place, would all those people have been there?
Yeah, that's very true.
And you have got to consider in the fact that people are going to look at this as this might be the last weekend that I get to go out before Christmas, get all my shopping done, and they've put a Christmas market on. So, and that, I was read some stories today, and, the traders were down there, were very like, oh, we did amazing business, and some local traders need that to survive. So again, it's trade-offs, and there's things that people need to look at and how they can help the traders that need it, but then also a crowd of that many people. I mean, I've seen 2 or 3 of the pictures. I went into this, I drove through the city myself yesterday, and I was concerned, like the amount of traffic was just like, I was like, how is there this much traffic? What's going on? Then obviously reminded me there was a market. So it is really strange. And I don't think I always, when this first started, there were people, the papers were, this was the first COVID case in the UK, and the people were calling each other out. And I don't think that's the way society should be. in any real form of life. So to see, just be calling people out about going to the market, I think is maybe slightly unfair, but also
No, I think
hosting the market
people
in
have
the first
become,
place.
people have become. It's been easy to become quite judgmental, isn't it? On
Yes,
people
very,
making decisions that
very.
they're making, and actually, I'm a firm believer that there needs to be need to take a wider view on decisions that are people making and why they're making those decisions and what else is being affected in their lives at the moment, whether it's it's actually they're going through the trauma of somebody with COVID, or somebody maybe they've lost
Yeah,
somebody with
of
COVID, or
course.
just they're just completely fed up of not being able to see anybody and do anything, and they're finding it mentally really tough, not being able to socialize with people. Everyone's got kind of different
Yeah.
reasons for making
Everyone,
decisions.
100%. Everyone's got their own personal circumstances, and you're never going to, unless you sit down and have a conversation with that person and really get in depth with them, you're never going to know what those personal circumstances are. So I think everyone just sort of needs to take a step back, not be so judgmental, and almost be sympathetic with people as opposed to being judgmental.
No, completely agree with that. So what do you think, if the vaccines are being rolled out, what's your kind of gut feel of when we might see dusk till dawn doors open? Do you think it could be, the summer?
I really don't know, and really couldn't put a time frame on it. I mean, I think when we discussed this back in May, it was sort of like one of those things where we sort of said, we need to see what other people are doing and what the rest of the world doing. There's lots of people in the industry that want live poker to resume, but all of those people are going to have to work together to put the measures in place to ensure that it is safe. Like I see there are tournaments still going on in the States. Like I said, I visited one that was happening in Estonia, and it's sort of if all of those people pull together and start making the decisions that, right, this is the best way for the industry, this is the best way for all of us to progress. I think everyone's sort of got to be on the same page. Players as well. Players have got to be.
Yeah, what did you make of in the UK? Because Grosvenor opened up a number of, I think pretty much all of their events with these plexiglass sort of 7-handed cash tables. I mean, obviously they were as secure and safe as they could be, but what's your take on that from a customer, from a player point of view? I mean, is it an experience you want to give players?
I'll be honest, I very rarely play live cash as a player, so I would never have gone to venture to that anyway myself. But I would assume that, these guys did all of the relevant safety checks. They'll have had it signed off by, the COVID or health and safety officer or personnel that needed to do those checks. So, they were within their rights of what the government was allowing to do. So yeah, that, if they would, again, if they've been given the opportunity to do that and they've done it, then that's their prerogative and their choice.
No, exactly. But do you think also moving forward, I see, Genting have pretty much pulled out of the live poker market completely.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting when things do get back going, whether it be, excuse me, next summer or even late next year or this time next year, whenever it might be. It's going to be a completely different kind of landscape, isn't it? The UK live.
Of course, yeah.
Poker.
The live scene in the UK will be drastically changed again, really, because of that Genting. Because of Genting ceasing to do poker anymore, that again itself is going to make such a big change, because you've now got a lot of cities in the country that had probably a Grosvenor and a Genting, or a Genting and a Caesars venue competing against each other.
Yeah.
And now you don't have that anymore. So yeah, the environment's going to be very, very different as soon as things are allowed to resume. I
tell you, one of the opinions that came out of episode 6 of The Orbit, which, as Lee said, we ran earlier this week, that, really sort of surprised me a bit. And then I stepped back and thought, do you know what? This may actually happen. Matt Savage, renowned tournament director, suggested that the boom that we've seen in online poker could well be replicated in live poker, because so many people have either A, been sat twiddling their thumbs and are desperate to get back and play live, or B, online has brought a lot of people back to poker who maybe haven't played for quite some time, and those people, having played online over the last several months, are now twiddling their thumbs waiting to go back and try live again also. Be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. And if you couple that with the fact that there was probably a 3-month period where there was no sports for people to do their sports betting on, you've probably got a lot of people that played in, did sports betting that migrated to poker that will have discovered the game and now want to, try it on the live stage. I mean, definitely, 3 months of no sport and, trying to encourage, people would have naturally migrated to poker, I assume.
Yeah. So what do you think, Glenn, of the decision by the World Series of Poker to almost rerun, it seems, their main event? So they're taking another slam at it, if you like. They're going to go with an interesting concept that would see an online element play out on GG, an online element play out on WSOP.com. Combination
started,
two.
Isn't it? It's actually started.
Yeah, has it started? Is it away?
I wasn't aware this was happening until I wasn't actually aware that there was a secondary main event, so to speak, until I think I mentioned first brought to my attention this week.
Okay.
And then I read a thread on Twitter about it.
Yeah, it's.
And I'll be honest, I wasn't really aware that it was happening, and then it was sort of overshadowed this week on GG by the Dan Bilzerian announcement. So it's sort of like they started it, and then they've done something else on top of that, which has almost clouded the fact that it's happening, if that makes sense.
Distracted a bit. I mean, I've heard very little buzz. I thought the initial announcement, came with a bit of bang. I certainly became aware of it. But there was a little bit of negative publicity with regards to the guy who won the main event of the summer series, sort of questioning, well, have I won the main event or not? And by all accounts, he hasn't, because it's happening. They are now absolutely pointing the finger at this one and says that whoever wins each of those two final tables, will go to Vegas and play off heads up for the bracelet. It's an odd thing. It's an odd thing, though, I have to say. I mean, do you have any feelings one way or another towards it?
Again, I haven't really looked into it as much to know, but if you're saying it's an online tournament that will play to a final and then a live final.
So effectively, what's happening?
Yeah, so basically it'll be two. So effectively you'll have an American version, which will play out a final table in Vegas. You will have a rest of the world effectively version, which will play out in, I want to say Prague, I think.
So it'll play online though, Lee, right? It'll play online down to 9.
Online down to a final table. Then the final table will play out. So you'll have two final tables that will play out, one in Vegas, one in Europe. I think it's Prague. The winner of each will then play heads up. They provisionally said in Vegas for $1 million added prize to then crown the final winner.
So televised on ESPN on December the 30th, I think it is. So smack, in the middle of the holiday season.
This year?
Yeah, man, it's happening.
Is there still not travel restrictions if you've got people traveling from different countries?
Well, I guess there'll be a definite, it'll be asterisk with all sorts of providing, that sort of stuff as possible.
Where we can appropriately play it is what they've said. Yeah, they've said.
No, like I say, if you've potentially got 8 or 9 persons traveling from 8 or 9 different countries, the amount of travel restrictions across just Europe alone at the minute, you're not going to get everyone together.
Well,
that's certainly part of the jigsaw.
It does seem absolutely crazy, doesn't it? But this is what they've put out there, and I think we were still struggling to work out whether there were guarantees or not. But I mean, the bit that got me was that it got announced, and then there was a tweet from the guy that won the one in the summer, the $5,000 tournament summer, which just was genuinely, it's a beautiful tweet. You have to dig it out. It's kind of him kind of saying, so guys, where do I stand now exactly? Because here's my certificate and my bracelet that you sent me. Saying I was the main event winner.
He's got a certificate that says I'm the main event winner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He's
wow,
got, and it's like,
the 51st World Series of Poker.
Yeah. So he says, so is the next one the 52nd, or is it the 51.1, or what is it? It's difficult to know whether this has been a thing which has been pushed by the World Series. Is it the WSOP that are driving this, or is it GG Poker? I would think it's the World Series guys that are driving this decision.
I would think it's them both.
Yeah.
When they announced the first online World Series, there was always a small hope that they were going to get a live one later in the year, obviously. But obviously that didn't happen.
Correct.
There was, they always did think that there was something could happen later in the year when they first had to, call it a day on the one in Vegas that couldn't have happened in the summer like it normally does. I remember that. being, at the forefront of people's minds, saying, there is, and I don't think that's unfair for people to want to hope to have live poker. To be honest, it is something to look forward to.
No, exactly. Yeah, completely agree.
I have to say, whatever about the shenanigans to get there, if they do get there to a heads-up battle in Las Vegas, that will be televised by ESPN sort of during Christmas week. I quite look forward to watching a bit of that. Feels a bit odd, though.
You got your Christmas movies, and then you can stay up late and watch. A
bit of Lana Norm, eh?
Yeah, why not? Something a bit different for the festive period.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
Die Hard followed by a Heads Up.
Well, that's your
exactly for $1 million. I mean, like,
you'll still be eating turkey at that point, won't you? Oof.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
The 30th of December. Oh my giddy aunt.
There'll definitely still be leftovers.
But that's the challenge typically with the summer series. And I have to say, we all, I'm sure we all look forward to the World Series of Poker, each and every one of us, every summer. But, when ESPN do show the live stuff, because of the time differences and what have you, it's nearly impossible to watch. Certainly if you're going out and doing day jobs and stuff like that, it's nearly impossible to watch. So that's what I mean. Christmas week, at least the majority of people are going to be off. I mean, let's face it, most of us are stuck at home anyway. So it'll be a nice added distraction.
Yeah,
it's a good time for it's a good time for poker, isn't it? Really, I mean, and of course, I guess this is a perfect time to say, well, you've got a fantastic schedule in between Christmas and New Year.
Yes,
with the Dust of
you
Dawn
have
schedule.
seen it, but the rest of the world are yet. Yeah, you've seen it, but the rest of the world are yet to see it.
So can't wait for you to announce that. When do you think you're going to be able to get that out to everyone to let them know when it is?
Oh, it'll probably be tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow or Tuesday. So yeah,
Excellent.
The plan is to try and replicate as close to what we do at the club, but in an online environment, obviously factoring in the costs and whatnot. We've still got promotions. Players will be able to win tickets in the advent calendar and in the build up to it. But I still want to run a Dust Till Dawn Christmas Cup, a Dust Till Dawn Christmas Shield, and some other festive tournaments between the Christmas and New Year period, like we would in the club. But I'm not going to run anything on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, or New Year's Eve like I wouldn't, because the club wouldn't be open on those days. So we're going to try and replicate as close as we can to what we would be doing in the club in an online party poker environment.
That's good. That is good.
So definitely, guys, make sure you keep an eye out for that. We'll share all those details as well on the APAT groups as well, so you don't miss out. But there's going to be some nice tournaments with some nice guarantees, and you'll be able to satellite in to all of them as well each night. So well worth getting involved in. That's it's UK players, isn't it? Is it UK and Ireland or just UK? UK.
It's just UK again. What we've tried to do is we've tried to replicate the club environment in that these tournaments would be for people that would travel to Dust Till Dawn on a Friday night or a Boxing Day. So yeah, they are UK only.
Fantastic. And tell me,
and real names.
If I wanted to take that realism to the next level and actually play these games from the car park of Dust Till Dawn with my laptop on my knees, would I find that Sinclair has in fact still been stood in front of those doors for the last 8 months, keeping an eye on the place?
It's very strange that you mentioned his name, because I saw Sinclair for the first time we closed was with the club. We closed on March 16th.
Yeah. And
I saw him for the first time since that date 2 days ago.
Oh, brilliant. Did you guys have a meeting or something? The Dust Till Dawn team?
He was jogging down the street, and as I pulled into a lay-by next to him, and I was like, oh, hello. And we literally by chance saw each other 2 days ago.
Surely he wasn't jogging. Surely he was chasing some drunk guy or something with chips.
It would have been 3 or 4. It would have been 3 days ago when the gyms reopened, because he told me he was doing his 2 miles and then going straight to the gym.
How did he look? Well, I'm going to assume he looked good if he was, going to the gym. But that must be tough.
It was cold, so everyone was wrapped up.
I'll tell you what, it's tough though. I mean, if you've been Sinclair, if you've been one of the dealers, if that's what you do and that's what you live, and you don't have the ability to, but you don't have the opportunity to, swiftly switch your focus to online as part of the business. As many of the team don't. That's been tough, right? That's a tough last 8 months.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it must have been and very different for everyone, because I mean, I drove to the cinema just before the second lockdown on a Friday night to see the place with no lights on, like only the security lighting was on and no
Yeah.
exterior lights, and it just be sat there and dark. And it's, you usually anticipate on a Friday night that car park's full, and
Oh, yeah.
it's the other way. People are using the showcase car park and walking across to DTD. Yeah, it's very surreal, and obviously there's a lot of people that I look at it as there's a lot of people that I've seen every day for like 3-4 years of my life that I've now not seen since March. So 9 months.
Yeah.
And it is very strange.
I guess I do get a sense that when eventually we get out of this thing, and with vaccines and whatever you want to call it coming, hopefully that won't be too far away. I mean, I suspect we're gonna have to be a bit patient for a while longer, but hopefully at some point in 2021 it'll become obvious that we're in a better place and that we can start to do some of these normal things again. Maybe not exactly as we did, but I suspect the party atmosphere around just getting back to work, just getting back to playing, that sort of stuff is something to look forward to, right?
It's one of those things. Like today is a Sunday afternoon, and on a Sunday afternoon, if the club was open, I'd go in, do the rounds, speak to players, and sit and watch the Sunday games in the VIP or on the televisions there. And today it's just weird. Those so many normal things that you don't realise that you do. Yeah. When you've have them taken away for so long, you actually start to miss so many little things like that, and the people as well. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of people that you talk to every day.
Oh, we take it for granted, don't we?
In that environment, and then you don't see them for 9 months is very, very strange.
Yeah. So tell me, when we do get back, are we going to see Kevin Hart behind the bar?
Probably not behind the bar.
Oh, come on. Get him working. Get him working. He's had it far too easy over the last 8 months.
That's probably a conversation for Rob to have with him.
Well, if not behind the bar, then certainly with his money behind the bar, buying drinks for the locals. I think that's what we need, Lee. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that sounds reasonable, doesn't it?
We do love a free bar at Dustledrum. We do love a free bar party at Dustledrum.
Oh, too right.
Guys, I've got something quite. This is quite cool. I've just I think this deserves. We're 2 minutes before the players are going to come, or 1:30 before they're going to come back from the break. But so this is a perfect time to talk about this. We've got 4 left in the Sunday roller. Richard King is absolutely steamrolling this final table at the moment, going great guns. He's probably got what's he got there, about well over twice the chips of the other 3 players all put together. But
is this our Richard King? Richard and Donna? I'm going to assume it is.
Yes,
I haven't seen him for a little while.
So.
But
yes, I absolutely 100% presume it is. But let me quickly switch to poker squads very briefly. Because we've got 17 players left in poker squads, and the MVP is done, I think. So we're on week 35, right? Of poker squads. Now there's a player that has played. There's a player that has played every single one of those tournaments. So he's played every single game.
7 nights a week.
35 weeks. So he's up to 204. This is his 245th tournament in a row straight.
Night.
Consecutive. Yeah.
Oh.
And after all of that, but he's been on the winning team on numerous weeks. He's finally gone and won the MVP.
Okay. Drum roll, please. Who is it, Lee?
Mr. Frank Bailey.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
Week 35.
I
Been
am
on the show
so
a number
pleased.
of times as well. A proper APAT legend. Frank is going to be MVP for the week. It's taken him 35 weeks to do it, Des, but he's finally got there.
Fantastic. That's just amazing. So delighted for you, Frank. They say you play too tight, but you've shown them this week, my friend. You have shown them this week. That's incredible. And for your loyalty to APAT, it's just mind-boggling, sir. Well done. Congrats.
So very well done to him.
Well done.
Now, obviously, you know me. I'm one for, don't want to big it up too much. I've had a quick look at the numbers, and I said Celtic Storm. I don't think they can get caught.
Yeah.
I think they can.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So Frank is the only one in for Celtic Storm. So he's gonna add a few points. But the Lockdown crew are in second. They're 165 points off Celtic Storm, but they've got 2 players left in. They've got Danny Weaver and Pete Wigglesworth still going. So if they could get Frank knocked out pretty quicko and then both run deep, we might have a story here towards the end of the tournament. But
I can't see it, Lee.
We'll follow the roller for the time being with 4 left, and we'll keep an eye on that as Richard King's all in again. This is proper aggression here, Glenn. Yeah.
Regarding the roller, Lee, you're posting the hotel chocolate prize,
Oh
right?
yeah,
There's a 50% chance here that it's leaving the country.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, he's got one to go to Sweden anyway, so
I've already got one going to Sweden anyway. Yeah.
he'll send it on the same pigeon. Listen, guys.
Yeah.
In the chat box, Jamie K is there. The longest period I've been away from DTD in 11 years. Yeah, that's pretty much what I think we were saying, Jamie. It's been a strange one. Greg Mawson is there. Question for you, Glenn. Does the live DTD Academy have a league structure like the online one? Fancy a trip there when you open back up. So
the live version of the Academy runs like our poker league venues. So we have the Dust Till Dawn Poker League, which is our pub league that is run around the country. Then players qualify for the live finals day. What we do with our Academy at Dust Till Dawn is we effectively treat it as if it's its own pub venue. So it's as if we're running our own pub league, Dust Till Dawn Pub League night within Dust Till Dawn. So that's what the Academy Live is. There's a leaderboard, and then we have the finals. I believe they're every 12 weeks live, and there are 5K guaranteed finals day. So they will.
And how many nights of the week? How many nights of the week, Glenn, can they play Academy games at Dust Till Dawn when it's normally open?
I believe it's 3 or 4 nights a week. We don't really run it on Friday, Saturday, and sometimes we don't run it on Sunday because of footfall numbers, and obviously Friday nights and Saturday nights are usually our bigger tournaments, so we've got the table spaces filled. But the Academy is usually 3 or 4 nights a week, and that's a £15 buy-in. There's always a reasonable guarantee on it, and again, players do win points for qualification for a live finals day.
Right, well, there you go. Greg, there's your answer. And touch wood, when we get some sort of opening date, which might be some time off, there's a plan, something to look forward to. Lots of love in the chat box for Frank and his achievement. And Pete says one day the internet will crash, so I assume that's aimed at Frank. I don't know.
No, Frank's already told me if that happens, he's just going to text me what he wants to do with each hand. He said, "Oh yeah, just not a problem. We'll find another way of doing it. We'll do it via post-it notes or something. We'll find a way. It won't be a problem."
That's brilliant. Listen, can we just quickly, at all connect with Frank's wife? We just need to get a proof of life. Okay, it's been a while since anybody's heard from Frank's wife. Let's just get a proof of life, and then we'll all sleep more comfortably in our beds.
What we should say is during those 245 days. So he's had a wedding anniversary. We definitely know he's had a wedding anniversary.
For sure, absolutely. Played poker that
I'd
night.
imagine there must have been some birthdays in there somewhere in the party.
Yeah, I remember those, Lee. He played poker those nights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Lee, let me tell you, Christmas is coming, and unless you change the plan, he's going to be playing poker that night too. Tell us, Lee. We're not going to be playing on Christmas Day, right?
No, well, what we're going to do is the plan is that we're going to run poker squads up until the 20th of December, so another 2 weeks after this, which will be our final show of the year, Des, as well. Poker squads will run after that, but we're not going to run the leaderboard for a couple of weeks. So if you really want to pop in for a $5 game of poker in the evening, great. Do it if you fancy it. That's not a problem whatsoever, but we won't be running leaderboards for 2 weeks. We'll take a 2-week break, and then we're going to be back with the APAT show on I think it's the 4th of January. And then poker squads will then start for the week after that. In the meantime, if you want to play some poker, obviously poker squads will run. Our 7 p.m. tournaments will run. The advent calendar promo runs right up to the 24th anyway. And in a couple of either tomorrow, hopefully Glenn will have the Dust Till Dawn schedule out as well. So there's going to be plenty of poker for you to be able to play for recreational amateur players. But we will be. We want to make sure there's no pressure. We don't want players feeling like they need to commit to playing 7 days a week over Christmas and the New Year. That's very much not the plan. And so we are going to step the leaderboards back for a couple of weeks to basically make sure that doesn't happen. So
fantastic. And tell me, Lee.
But of course, we know what happened though, Des, don't you? You know what's going to happen.
I do.
A few players.
I seldom know what's going to happen.
a few players will just. I would imagine the numbers will stay reasonably high over Christmas.
I would have thought.
So,
if ever you need a break, it's at Christmas, Lee. Right? It's at Christmas, even if you've had a long break prior.
All I know for a fact is and we're nothing if not transparent here. Is I need a break for a couple of weeks.
A well-deserved break, Lee.
Yeah. So I will be taking 2 weeks of just we'll still be dealing with anything that needs dealing with, and if anyone needs some messages or anything or any problems or whatever, not a problem. We will pick those up. But but we will just be having a bit of a break of it. So we've got the advent calendar up to the 24th. And then, do you know what? I will probably sit and jump in on a number of the Dusk Till Dawn tournaments between Christmas and New Year, because I say I've had a sneak peek at the schedule, and I quite fancy getting involved in some of those. And obviously, there's lots of still plenty of poker to get involved with and qualifying for. I mean, crikey, you've got the Millions is just around the corner, isn't it? Before you know it,
we've got Millions online.
Will be in February.
Yeah, 100%. We've got Millions online. We've got the Irish Poker Masters that's running this week. That started. So yeah, we've tried to bring as many of the events that we would be hosting live online. So that there is something for everyone at the minute. We've got everything from our stuff at APAT level up to the 5Ks and the 10Ks. There is literally something for everyone at the minute.
And I tell you what, we haven't mentioned it in any detail yet, Glenn, but on Party we will shortly have the biggest ever amateur WCOAP festival of all time. Be happening
this
early in the new year.
Yes, this is what I've been told. I mean, discussions are happening about that, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Something I want to be involved in, and getting everyone involved in, because it is one of those festivals that appeals. Again, it appeals to everyone, and we should be getting behind it, and everyone should be getting behind it, and supporting APAT and building it.
Yeah. No, it makes good sense.
There's nothing cooler than being here on a Sunday night now and it being an APAT table all branded up. And,
it's great.
And getting to watch that. It's fantastic. Des, you know that thing I said about maybe they won't win it and whatever because there's still two, and you went, that won't. Yeah, you were right. Yeah,
hey, is one of them gone?
Mr. Wigglesworth has bust in 16th. He's I think it might have been Frank that he was talking about a hand against Frank in the chat box. So it might well have been Frank that saw him off.
I tell you, it's a very, very rare thing for us to, at this early hour of the evening, know who has won the MVP and the team leaderboard. So with that, we'd like to thank you guys for your play this week. We'd like to thank Glenn for popping in. And we'll be back next Sunday night for more on the APAT show. Night, guys. Can I do it, Lee? Can we do it?
No, Des, we're contracted till at least midnight.
No.
Yeah. At least midnight.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Getting ready to close the laptop.
You went all Helmuth on me there, Des. You took complete control. It was just. Did you see? I've got to say. Did you see Norman Chad's tweet this week? Absolutely priceless about. So he tweeted about the Orbit episode 6 and great 60+ minutes of named everybody apart from Phil Helmuth, and then said and a guest 55-minute appearance from Phil Helmuth.
Shall I run the teaser? Why don't I run the teaser, Lee? Right, if you haven't seen it, guys, if you haven't seen it, episode 6 of the Orbit is online now. You can find it on YouTube and Facebook. Go to the Twitch poker page on Facebook and it's there, so it's only a couple of clicks away. This is the teaser that we did for it. Let's see if I can quickly run this, and we'll be back in 60 seconds.
You played with Chip and Doyle it seemed like every day for 3 years.
The newcomer, the new No Limit players, the people with the hoodies, the people with the sunglasses, and they sit like a statue out there.
I don't know how Lucky You is a blockbuster.
It's guys like you, Ellie, and Phil Helmuth, and the players that we know from back in the old days that really made personalities what they are today for poker.
I don't go out of my way to say, God, I can't wait till I see Steven Chickwigger next.
Because people have figured out that, you can't play every hand.
If Ellie wrote an autobiography, I would go buy it tomorrow.
I played with Stu Unger probably 10 times. What I felt in the table is what somebody intimidated me.
He was the biggest asshole on the table for sure.
Jack made a bad ruling. Matt would have cashed me.
One of them that's supposed to be there, because he been there from the horseshoe days. You don't find many people from the horseshoe days.
He's the origin of the term chip in a chair.
Come on, Hockseed is not there yet?
Yeah, I think Fedor can be very interesting if he wants to be. He attacks me, but I say good things about him.
Zip it, Phil. Zip it. Zip
Yeah.
it.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 6 of The Orbit.
So there you go, guys. Episode 6 of The Orbit online now on Facebook. Just go to Twitch, the Twitch poker page on Facebook. And it was a very funny episode. Some great characters in the game. Phil Hellmuth, of course. And Lee, you've had this experience over the last couple of weeks where this week Phil Hellmuth has tweeted one of your tweets or liked one of your tweets.
Oh,
You
liked
Daniel,
one- yeah.
you Daniel Negreanu a couple of weeks ago sort of saying, look, these guys should get the award for best podcast. You just give it to them, right? Because it's so good. It's just a little surreal, is it not?
It's been a very weird 2020, all in all. To be honest, if somebody had said to me at the start of the year, by the end of the year, yeah, you'd have like Phil Hellmuth, liking one of your tweets and stuff, and you'd be, dealing with these guys, for these type of shows, yeah, I wouldn't have believed you. It's been a very peculiar 2020, but a lot of fun, I must admit. And this episode 6 was just getting to listen to these guys chat about days gone by and prop bets and characters in the game and passionately talking about poker. It's a wonderful thing. I guess it's similar like when you get the big names coming to Dusk Till Dawn, Glenn, in that it adds another level to kind of the atmosphere in the place when you've got has Phil Hellmuth ever played at Dusk Till Dawn?
He has played at the club, but not while I've worked there. I think he played at the club before I worked there, before I worked for DTD. So I've been there 7 years now. So it was before then, yeah. But no, again,
but it's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when we get the big names in, you can see that it's one of those things where when we hosted the first Millions, we had a 5K with all of the big names of World Poker, but we did run our academy that night, the academy that I mentioned earlier. So we ran our Poker League tournament. We had a 5K final table sat next to a £15 tournament, and the rail on both. People were just looking around the room, and to see that kind of buzz when you've got those people in the building is sort of what it's all about, really.
Absolutely. Well, I remember the time, Glenn, we had Andy Black on the APAT show, and those were some of the best 3 minutes of my poker life, I have to say.
Yeah, it is, but it is really weird. So we do, I mean, a little bit of behind the scenes. So we obviously all what we record is all done virtually. And we kind of, I'll have a bit of a chat with Robbie Straczynski, who hosts it beforehand. And then we then start seeing the guests appearing, ready to enter kind of the call to get this done. And they're all busy saying hello. And I'm just this guy. I'm there on camera so I can chat to them all and get them all sorted. But they haven't got a clue who I am. They're all busy chatting to each other. And it's just like this pasty-looking bloke from the UK.
But do you never mention that you are a UK poker champion? That's got to hold some sort of
Exactly.
I don't.
Like,
I don't like to talk about that, Glenn.
Like, if you just threw that out there, or maybe had it as like an avatar for when you join the conversation, people will know them.
But it's so funny because you kind of start having the conversation going, right, so guys, I don't know whether you've seen the show, but but we kind of put you in a circle and and you're kind of trying to, and you can see them looking like, what's this guy talking about? But it's just great. I mean, I must admit, some of the best bits of the shows nobody gets to see, because actually we take a little break in the middle of it, and they normally carry on chatting. The conversation before we actually start recording is normally great, and unless your Tony G, who I think exited the call quicker than anyone I've ever seen in history exit a Zoom call. Most people are trying to find the button on how to end a call. He was literally, I think
Tony'd had his finger hovering over it from the third minute.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's great. I mean, the one we've just done. I mean, again, it's not spoiling anything, but to say that they were all kind of going, so, are we going to do this again next year? Can we all, should we all just come back on again in a year's time? It's like, that's great.
Good.
I mean, that's one of the satisfying things, right? Everybody who's done it has seemed to enjoy it. They've all, sort of taken it very seriously, and they've done their homework, and within reason, and they've all really accounted for themselves well, I think. So it's given us great content, and we've been, it's been a great benefit to us. It's had some really good responses. We did something a little bit different this time in that we aimed to see these guys just have a chat. So no meaty industry issues of the day. It was very much about, talk to us about the old days. And I think it worked. I think it worked really well.
Yeah. And of course, what happens, we do that, and then you get a really meaty industry topic of the day hit at the same time with GG announcing a new sponsored pro, which is as kind of it's a proper Marmite moment, isn't it? I guess in poker, it's another one of those. It's you either really think it's a great idea or think it's the worst idea in poker. What's your take on it, Glenn?
Is this the Dan Bilzerian thing?
Yeah. Oh, just actually before you answer, I might just say before you answer, Richard King's won the roller, which means the chocolates are staying in the UK. Well done to him. He picks up $634. Nico finishes second for $434, and Corey, great performance in third for you, Corey. He's picked up $300 from a $3.30 feeder.
Awesome.
So, Corey, that is superb. Well done. So, sorry, Glenn. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I discussed this with a couple of friends, and someone alerted me to Doug Polk's tweet about it, where he actually ran a poll on people's opinion of Dan becoming a GG pro. And he's had 5,800 votes, and 82% of those votes, the answer was that people don't care, which I thought was a really, really strange, obviously he's given that. It'd be interesting to see what that poll would look like if don't care wasn't an option. The other options are happy, angry, and upset. And then there's a fourth option, which is don't care. So it'd be interesting to see sort of what the public feel would be if don't care wasn't an option.
Well, to be honest, you can't force an opinion on them. I think if 80% say they don't care, I think that doesn't surprise me, actually. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Okay. I thought people might be more opinionated by it, if I'm being honest. I was surprised the amount of people that have said that their opinion is they don't actually really have one don't care.
I think Lee's nailed it. I think people are a bit Marmite on this one. I think they either care or they don't. I think if they care, they're probably anti it. And if honestly it's just not a thing in their orbit at the moment, then they're probably I don't care. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me upset. I'm just whatever. Next. I'm of the view. I guess I can understand it from a business decision, and they think that it's going to bring a lot of his following in. Although I have seen a couple of tweets from people today suggesting, well, for someone that's just been announced as this, he's not actually doing much to promote anything on his Instagram or anywhere else or anything like that. But then I've seen plenty of views around the fact that his views on women and and certainly what he posts in public is you wouldn't want that in the game of poker, and you wouldn't want that necessarily in life. So it's difficult. But the problem is, and I was chatting to Natalie Bromley about it the other night, and I said the biggest issue you have is poker players are the worst at voting with their feet. Because they just don't. They might do in the very, very short term. No, they might do. Well, they might do in the very, very short term. So I mean, it's the perfect situation. So poker players can get bad customer service. They can get poor response to stuff. They can get rake back taken away. They can get additional fees. All these things can happen, and they all kick off, and they all have a moan about it. And I guarantee you, the next time that site has got a huge guarantee with a potential overlay, or they're giving away a load of stuff, or they run a promo, they're all back there playing. They do. Nobody actually kind of stands to say, well, no, I'm not prepared to do that. Because they all just want to play poker, and they're looking at the value. There's very few that actually will morally go, actually, no, I'm not playing on that site because I don't believe the way they run it, or the way they do this, or I've had a bad experience. They're just not prepared to do that. It's really strange.
I mean, yes, I mean, I don't think you're wrong there. again, I was looking at this week, and I think the consensus of 82% of people that are obviously follow Doug because their poker interest, probably a main interest is poker. That is 80. If GG looked at that, they'd go, oh well. They'd probably say no press is bad press.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But the thing is, Glenn, but what I take from it is what Gigi choose to do. I to a certain extent, it's like, well, okay, if that's like what they want to do, that's what we want to do. But actually, I feel quite bad for the sites that really work hard at their customer service and following the regulations and be seen to be doing the right thing and all these things. I mean, there are sites out there that do work hard at trying to do that. It kind of feels like it's why bother? Because
I'm a firm believer that long term those people will still find success in what they do. If you, like, for example, using Dust Till Dawn and Party Poker as the example, we've always been front facing with players. We've always held a door open to players. People can contact myself, Nicola, staff quite widely. And I always think that long-term people like that, as individuals and within the businesses they work for, long-term will succeed. And if other people have short-term successes or long-term successes based on what they do, then fair play to them as well, really. But I think long-term, people will always come out, good people and people that do the right thing.
It does very much, and I think Rob alluded to it when he was on the Orbit a couple of months ago about regulation, particularly that there, he felt very much that it was a case of, in fact, actually, I think Patrick Leonard also gave a similar response when he was on the show that, there are certain sites at the moment that are kind of with regulation are just going, well, we're just going to steamroller it and see where we end up. And there are other sites that are public listed and therefore have a more of a corporate structure to what they do that just literally cannot risk doing that for shareholder value effectively, or their responsibility to shareholders. So they don't have that ability to do that. And it means the likes of GG at the moment, and to a certain extent, the all of the apps, that are out there at the moment. I mean, crikey, I don't know what you guys are like, but I get a friend request now on Facebook, and the first thing I have to double check is, well, are they related to any of these app things? Because if they are, I'd just say no, because I know the next question is going to be the message going, hey, do you want to join the club? And and just message me and I'll do that. And it's like,
I had a third party club contact me and ask me involvement, and I sort of politely said, please, can you take a look at my job role in my Facebook profile? This is obviously not for me, like, in the nicest way possible. Like,
you're the same as me, Glenn. You're polite about it, but at the same time, you kind of want to go, look, don't scattergun it. At least have the decency to have a look and see who you want to get into. But it isn't. It's a numbers game, isn't it? They're all just interested in pretty much just getting as many people as they can.
Cast a wide fish net, it's like a wide fish net. You'll catch more fish if you catch a wider net.
Yeah, but is it not just basically it's pyramid selling for poker, isn't it? Pretty much in a case of get them into this and add more into this, and and basically that's what you're looking to do.
I don't know how the back end of it all works and some of these apps that people play through. Like I said, I just carry on doing what we're doing in terms of being the front of house and letting people come to us if they want to. And again, sometimes we do get, like you've just said, people trying to hard sell us stuff. Even people that work in the industry get it. But you just be I'm like you. We just be nice. We just politely say, please move along, carry on doing your thing over there, away from me, please.
Yeah. And to be fair to them, that I've not had anybody, give me any hassle for it. It's just to, they understand.
No,
they understand. They just basically they're just wanting to help. But it seems to be like everybody and anybody's doing it now. It's a crazy thing, and apparently in the States, it's really being heavily used, obviously because of the fact they can't play anything else.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 or 3 of these apps now that people name and say, would you like to play on these apps? But I can imagine it is probably more popular in the States, yeah. Whereas obviously in the UK, I think we're very fortunate in that the competition and the industry as a whole in the UK is very strong in terms of sites like Party and what we're trying to do. I think we're very fortunate that we can play these great value, regulated comps through Party Poker.
No, exactly. Completely agree. Just looking in the chat, I see Jamie K says Phil played the English Open in 2009, and apparently Doyle came over too. Oh, wow. Wow. That would have been good. Doyle got mentioned a little bit in the orbit. Yeah.
Oh, just read Gareth Howard's comment. Gareth being sarcastic.
Which one? I'd go for it. What? Just repeat it.
He put, when Glenn says at dusk, what does he mean? I won't embarrass him by telling him about the query I helped him with this morning at about 7 o'clock this morning. Bless him.
Oh, to be fair to Gaz, he needs a lot of hand holding to get through his poker career. Gaz, it's it is a regular thing for him. He struggles with it. I mean, I posted up about the Advent calendar promotion with all the information that was necessary, and his first question was, "What's this all about, mate?"
Speaking of the Advent calendar, Richard King has just claimed the prize on the Dusk Till Dawn thread. Good
work, Richard.
Excellent. Well done, Richard. Well done to you. We will get some chocolates.
We will acquire his address for you.
Lovely stuff. That'd be great. Yep. And I think I'll owe you an address back the other way for the for last night for Jeff Talbot's win. So I will do that as well. And we're on again, guys. So that's the one tonight. So tomorrow night it'll be another tournament. We'll announce it on the DTD and APAT social pages tomorrow what the tournament is. Although I'm sure a lot of you will probably guess what it'll be. But then play that tomorrow night, and we'll announce the prize once registration closes. So see what's up for grabs tomorrow night.
Honest, I'll announce them all on the Dusk Till Dawn website in advance. So the tournaments I've actually listed. So the actual tournaments I've listed, the prizes, obviously we allocate those after registration's closed. But the actual tournaments, so obviously I'm uploading them to the Dusk Till Dawn schedule. They're all visible in the Dusk Till Dawn tab as well. Yeah.
Don't tell anyone, but it's the 7 p.m. APAT game every night. Okay, all right.
It might. That's the vibe I got.
Yeah. But it's great because the other thing is because so this is the interesting thing, Glenn, is I had somebody when we said we're doing this, they said, "Oh, yeah, you want to play these?" They said, "Oh, yeah, that sounds great." They said, "Oh, well, I'll play the Sunday Rollers because I bet you all the best prizes will be on the Sunday Rollers." And I said, nah, Glenn and I didn't work it like that. So it is far more random than that. So if you think like there's a game, oh well, they're never going to put a decent prize on the stud game or on the PLO8 game or something like that. They won't put a decent prize on that. You will be surprised.
So hold on, whoa. Are you telling me that some sort of elf doesn't randomly draw these prizes every night? Is that what you're telling me now?
No, my point is,
I'm going to cry here.
No, my point is it is random. So it's not that we've put them on the Saturday, Sunday night tournaments. What I'm saying is it is random. So you could just as easily have one of the big worth, over £100 prizes on a Thursday night stud game or a Monday night PLO game. Yeah.
An elf did in fact draw the prizes, just did one big draw for all of the evenings. Is that right?
Yeah, and did all the graphics and artwork. Yeah.
We asked Santa if we could borrow an elf to build this promotion, and he granted us that wish. And we had full use of one of Santa's elves for.
If I'm honest, it was a bit of a nightmare. It was a nightmare though, Des, because basically Santa had to take him off furlough for 2 days because technically he was going to work somewhere else. So it got very, very complicated on what we could do because he obviously didn't want that to affect his claim. He didn't want Rishi and the boys coming back saying, show me the paperwork. So, but Glenn got it all sorted.
And the taxes on landing a reindeer as well. The taxes on landing a reindeer.
You just can't
tell you what. Listen, now that we're in the media business, I can ask the question: is there any truth in the rumor that Sinclair is in fact that elf?
Oh, I'm definitely going to play that back to him as that's definitely getting clipped.
Oh dear. We love you, Sinclair. We miss you, my friend.
Oh, I found.
So James Ablett says he won an online poker tournament today. to be honest. Pete Wigglesworth won an online tournament today, so it's not really saying much, is it? Really? Yeah.
Pete Wigglesworth's won 2 in the last 48 hours, so
yeah. I mean,
James has got to probably win another one, really, and then come back to us.
yeah. So James is now saying, all I want for Christmas is to see a video of Glenn Townsend rapping on stage at Glastonbury. I'm assuming that's
okay, I get,
in relation.
I get that reference. The outfit that you have kindly posted a photo of me in is very similar to the video of a gent who went up on stage with a rapper and did some rapping at Glasgow.
Well, I when I first saw the picture, I just assumed it was a festival photo. I just assumed it was, but
no, that was taken in the countryside. Again, I think I was leaning against a derelict building somewhere. In fact, I think I was walking the Monsell Trail.
I tell you what, they were scoping out Just Till Dawn 2, Lee. That's the
in the middle of the Derbyshire
just
countryside.
you got to do what you got to do, right? Huge car park for small stakes cash games, and that's what they were doing. They were scoping out.
But it's not Dust Till Dawn 2 one of those poker urban myths that I remember back in that it used to on Blonde Poker. It used to always be the thing of there would be talk about Rob's going to buy somewhere else, so he's got a Dust Till Dawn North and a Dust Till Dawn South, and I was like, well, I'm not sure what I call Nottingham North, but okay, fair enough.
The thing is with Nottingham, the thing is of where we are pretty much, whether you use public transport, whether you have to get a short flight from Scotland, we are 2 hours from everywhere, really.
Well, I think I remember seeing an interview with Rob where he pretty much explained that when they were choosing, where they did look at potentially where other venues, did other places make more sense from a catchment area and whatnot, and actually not really.
He thought 15 minutes from his home was the place to go.
You look at
sense.
You look at the regular tournament, the nightly catchment area where we probably say some people would travel upwards of an hour and a half. The amount of cities within the catchment area for the run of the mill nightly stuff. You've got Derby, you've got Sheffield, Leicester. All of these places are under an hour's drive, so we're very central as it is. And again, if you use public transport from London, it's 2 hours on the quick train. If you fly down to East Midlands from Scotland, you can be at East Midlands Airport in 45 minutes. We are very central.
James Ablett says, good night, guys. Enjoy. Nice to see you in the chat tonight, James. Good stuff. Absolutely. So we're down to 6, and it's one of those tonight, Des. Yeah, it's all wrapped up.
Done and dusted.
Yeah, as far as squads go, it's just one of those nights. Obviously, still a decent amount of money up top, $123 up top. So the guys are playing for the cash. I'm just trying to work out whether anyone can catch the guys in second. I think they might be done. Go on.
Just reading Gareth Howard's asked me if Rob's ever thought about buying Next Door. I went to the club about 3 weeks ago for a meeting. Next Door has been purchased and now sits about 200 of the surplus stock that can't fit on the forecourts for Ford. So Next Door has been purchased and is now, looks like it's going to be an overspill for the car resellers.
Okay, that's cool.
So that's already happened.
Well, that's good to see.
It's a crazy thing. Something like that as an industry, the motor trade, obviously with the lockdown. I mean, they're just ridiculous number of cars just sat in, just basically all getting devalued for 6 months, whilst they couldn't really sell them very much. So it's a weird one, isn't it?
Similar to, I went down to the south coast for a couple of weeks during when there was no lockdown during the summer, and I've spent some time in Weymouth, and all of the cruise ships are just docked off the coast of Bournemouth and Weymouth. It's
they're
very
all docked
surreal.
off the coast. Weymouth. You weren't far from us, Glenn. If I'd have known you were down, you could have popped in and said hello.
It would have been summertime, July probably. But yeah, it was really surreal seeing all the cruise ships just sat there like there's a dozen cruise ships.
We were down.
They turned the lights on at night as well. I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, there's crews on them all. They basically have minimal crews and they just swap over. They're all pretty much docked there. Off the you can see 3 or 4 of them off the coast at Swanage as well, and then further down the Dorset coast, and they're just all parked up.
Crazy.
I mean, there was a point when during lockdown 1, Bournemouth, I think I've said this on the show, Bournemouth Airport was basically a complete plane park because it's got quite a long runway. So basically British Airways had parked up everything from 747s right down, and there wasn't a space on the runway. It was the most ridiculous bit of parallel parking and you've ever seen in your life. They did some drone footage of it, and it's just all these, and I mean, you're lucky if there's probably a dozen planes take off and leave from Bournemouth on a normal day. It's it's not the busiest of airports in the world. That's where they were using it to bring in when the army and whatever were moving around a lot of the stuff for the NHS and things, and they were using Bournemouth as an airport just because of the size of the runway. So
there must be loads of industries that people haven't thought of where things have just sat for 6 months to 9 months and just not been used. And it's
I'm thinking about my car.
I saw one the other day. Did you see the picture that Dave Potts posted?
About the taxis.
Of the taxis.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Ooh.
There's just a field somewhere, and they've literally, the lease company they're all parked up because obviously the guys that were leasing them to, obviously they're not earning enough to actually justify, driving all day as a taxi. And so there is just literally these London cabs just parked up, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Just incredible.
That's very sad.
I drove my brother to Heathrow during just before the second lockdown. He went to Sweden, and I don't know how regular if you guys have ever driven past Heathrow much, but I saw one plane touch the tarmac, and it was his, and that was it.
Really? Wow.
I must have spent 45 minutes in the Heathrow area and saw one plane. It was very, very eerie. I managed to use the short stay car park, the short stay drop off as my own little car park because there was just no other cars or anything. It was really
am I right in thinking Gatwick is still, is it one of the terminals is still completely shut and the other one is doing absolute minimal flights even now?
I think Heathrow closed the terminal as well.
There's some ridiculous deals to get to Vegas next year. Virgin Atlantic have got some crazy deals.
Yeah,
I know
Mr.
Mr. Wigglesworth has,
how crazy, Lee?
Provisionally booked.
How crazy?
When you crazy. Did I not add enough crazies on that for it to be
sort of under 500 crazy?
Well, I was looking at the miles. I was looking at the miles one, so I couldn't say 100% what the actual the flights, but it as an example, you could do, if you were using miles, you could do what would normally cost you something like, I don't know, 180,000 air miles plus your taxes for upper class return. You could get for like 50 or 60,000 air miles.
Wow. Great. Okay.
Plus your taxes. So and I know Pete booked up because he was saying to me he provisionally booked up. But they're doing this thing where you can obviously, if you don't go, they were doing some Virgin holidays were quite good. They were offering something over Christmas whereby if you wanted to go away, you could book a holiday, but they wouldn't confirm exactly where you would be staying. So if you said I want to go to the Caribbean for a couple of weeks, they would find somewhere that meant you wouldn't need to isolate or be in quarantine or anything like that, but they wouldn't let you know till closer to the time. Tom Banks is saying 410 he saw.
Wow.
To Vegas. So but obviously they want to get people they want to start getting people to book, to start booking to go. I think the problem is a number of people have said to me, the chances are you going to get to go, is it going to be a condition of you flying that you've had a vaccine? And it's not whether you want to have the vaccine or not. The reality of it is I guess for the likes of us, are we likely to get a vaccine this side of May, June next year? Probably not.
Yeah, I agree.
I would suggest.
One of the Qantas chiefs actually said you will need a vaccine to fly. So and if that's come from the CEO of Qantas, then other airlines must be looking at that and thinking about it.
If I was a country, as much as I want to get people to, as much as I'd want to get people to, take the UK, for example. If we're now talking about, right, we want to get vaccines out, we want to get as quickly as we can, get everything locked down for people and to get back to some normality, are we going to allow people to come on holiday here or visit from other countries who've not had a vaccine? We'd be pretty stupid. We'd be pretty stupid to do that, wouldn't we? Yeah.
But having looked at this myself, it looks like they're going down the avenue of not just relying on vaccines, and they'll improve things like rapid testing. I know that the UK from the 15th of this month are reducing the quarantine, aren't they, from 14 days, and they're giving you a test and release option where if you test negative after 5 days, then you're free. So I think it will come down to things like that as well in terms of travel, especially long haul travel, because I mean, America's still got a travel restriction on from Europe, hasn't it? They're still not allowing Europeans in.
No, exactly. Yeah. And
so I think
who knows what's going to happen come the end of the year. Yeah.
Heathrow, East Midlands, Stansted and Gatwick have all got rapid testing at the airport now anyway, where you can get a test for like £60 to £90, and within 20 minutes it will tell you. And if airlines start accepting a negative test as proof, then I think it will be testing that people will rely on probably more than a vaccine for at least the first 6 months of next year.
Would you want to be going to an airport to take a test as to whether you can fly? That's the thing, isn't it? You think of it from a kind of an experience of a.
My personal experience is I would like to have a negative test before I leave my house.
Yes, exactly, and then go on the basis then that right, I'm not going to come in contact with anybody, so I'll then have to have another test when I get to the airport, and then I'll go.
I think if I test negative before I leave it, because you've also got the option of what if you test positive when you've driven to somewhere like Gatwick, and then you've got to go home having not been allowed to board the plane after travelling 3 hours to an airport.
Exactly. This is turning into an episode of The Price. This is turning into an episode of The Price is Right. So Tom Banks has said he saw 410. Pete Wigglesworth now says 320 is the deal he got for May. I think that's what Pete's saying. 320 is what he got.
Was Pete by boat?
But he said, but I used. He did tell me he used some air miles to upgrade. But he's saying he paid 320 is the price that he's paid. So.
That's incredible.
It's the trouble is though, is to say they've got these all these planes, so they've got these fleets, and basically they need to try and get some money back on them. So at some point they've got, as long as it's profitable for them to do the journey, then ultimately they'll get whatever price is sensible to get people back flying again.
And the resorts want people. Vegas will want people there, so. It's in the local people's best interest to encourage these flights to come over.
I mean, the reality of it is Vegas or certainly the States as a whole, you kind of get the opinion that they've not really taken it as seriously as perhaps they should have. Now, whether that's because of their current leader has not taken the right attitude with it, I don't know. But it is an interesting. Go on.
I've not really looked at America much, but obviously. It would seem that different states had different laws. Therefore, you've not got one clean set of restrictions or unrestrictions for everyone. Looking at the UK here, we've got the England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, each doing their own thing. But in America, if you've got upwards of 40 different sets of rules, which is technically within the same country, then there probably is going to be some confusion, to be honest.
Well, Des is our American expert.
Yeah, let's bring in our American expert, our American correspondent.
I don't think it's anything to do with the complexity of the state laws. It is simply because they're American. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Des.
No, but it is crazy, and of course when they did have a little bit of a lockdown, and because Vegas did actually completely shut, didn't it, for a period of time. And I just remember seeing the videos when they opened back up, and you just looked at it and went, "Well,
yeah." Someone posted
they're doing it. There's like, there's the girls dancing behind the blackjack tables, wearing a mask. Well, brilliant.
Sweet.
Someone posted a video.
Where?
It was a drunk guy.
Where else are you going to shove your $5? Listen, guys. Tom Banks has happened upon the answer here. He said, "I grew up abroad from age 6 to 30 with a certificate stapled into our passport to ensure we had an in-date cholera and also smallpox jab. Can see no different with this." And I would agree with Tom. I think at some point in the near future, you'll have your passport and they'll inject a little silver antenna, a 5G antenna probably, into your veins, and that will have all your information. It's simple as that.
I think the passports already have the ability to hold additional data. So I think actually it'll be a case of it'll be no different than actually you can now go online and put a registration number in and see whether the car's got an MOT or not.
What?
It'll
No
be
5G
different to
antenna?
this, no, I don't think there'll be any need for it. There doesn't need to be an app. There doesn't need to be anything like that. I think it'll just be tied to your passport. You'll have it confirmed, and it'll be valid for whatever period of time. And that'll be that.
How it's currently working. That's how it's currently working. But instead of it being the info on your passport, you've got to have your passport information on the certificate that you get to say you tested negative. So at the minute, that is sort of how they're doing it. But as opposed, like you said, as opposed to you go to your e-passport gates and you'll get your green light because that information will be stored on the passport itself rather than the piece of paper that you've got accompanying it at the minute.
But that's the way I think it's going to move. Yeah. It'll be like Mission Impossible thing of has your vaccine come through before you go through the gate, and if not, the alarms go off. And
I was reading this morning. There was a group of people trying to get on a flight, and they were all in the same boat. They'd all been tested by the same company, and their test results hadn't come through before the flight departed.
Sorry, Glenn. They were trying to get a flight directly from a boat. Explain.
Did I say from a boat?
You said they were all in the same boat. They were going to get on a flight.
The same thing as you.
They're on the same boat. Oh no! Oh, I get it. I know what you're saying. I know. Let's blame Sinclair.
Their test results didn't come through in time, therefore they weren't allowed to board, and therefore couldn't go. So it is. But things like that will improve. Like testing speeds will improve.
Listen, it's absolutely that. I think if you consider where we were back in March, April, when we really didn't have a clue whatsoever what was going on, to where we are today, whereby we have elements of stuff under control as best we can. There's tiering systems, there's greater testing, there's a much greater awareness, and therefore people, are deciding to either do or not do what they're advised to do, but at least there's awareness. I'm sure you're right. Fast forward 3 to 6 months, and I'm sure the awareness and the procedures will be a lot greater. And without doubt, it's going to be a pain in the ass to do some of this stuff, but it's the right thing to do, just for the short period of time that we're going to have to do it. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. No, completely.
I'll tell you something good good to watch. I don't know whether you guys have been watching it on BBC. Have currently got another series of Hospital on, which is the kind of the documentary following kind of one of the NHS trusts, and they've been following them through obviously what's gone on this year, and it's fascinating to see behind the scenes of we're not talking about kind of the dealing with the COVID cases coming in. It's actually how they're having to try and run a hospital with all of this going on, and what they can and can't do, and when they can reopen operating theatres and all this. Fascinating.
I've seen it on
iPlayer if you've not seen it. Yeah, really, really interesting to see what the staff have gone through. Just trying to deal with the cancer patients and the people that are needing
is this
transplants, that type of thing.
Is this the program where the surgeon describes the cancer growths within a liver as cauliflower like?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
At that point, Sean looked at me and said, I'm not eating cauliflower ever again.
No. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and obviously it's watching the most heartbreaking thing about watching that program is it's not the patients, it's not the staff, it's actually the family members that have literally, they know that their loved one is in that hospital in a room and they can't go and see them. They're just completely isolated in what they can do, and they literally just leave bags of food with a message written on the bag, and that's pretty much the best they can do. It's been just a horrific year for lots of people in lots of different ways. That's for sure.
That it has. I blame Trump, but there we go.
Well, you won't be able to blame Trump for much longer. What are you going to do in about?
You can't say that with any degree of certainty, can you?
Do you really? I
no,
got the feeling
he's definitely going.
Everything's died down. It's going.
Definitely
I think he's resigned to the fact he stopped dyeing his hair. He's resigned to the fact that he's.
Could he tell his lawyer to stop dyeing his hair? Because honestly, when it runs, it's not a pretty sight.
What was that all about?
Rudy Giuliani, right? Yeah, I guess he put a bit of boot polish in his hair, and it just, through sweat, it ran down his the side of his face when he was given some TV stuff.
Have you seen the clip where the Trump campaign that were in charge of the Trump streaming for that left their mics on and were talking about it as it was happening? Yeah.
Oh, no. How did I miss that?
There's footage out there of the guys that are basically in charge of the Trump campaign or that side of like that party's stream, and they're like talking about like, oh my god.
Oh no, how bad is it that that's the only note that I've made during tonight's show? Giuliani sweat commentary.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
There's footage out there of the guys that are in charge of that stream just like talking about it. It's like, oh, you've left your mics on, guys.
Oh no!
But again, the fact they left their mics on just doesn't come as a surprise, does it? Yeah, really, it really doesn't. Yeah, that kind of sums up that whole campaign and that whole team.
Yeah.
What does it say about a crikey, such a huge country that so many people believe what this guy is saying? I mean, he's the worst kind of car salesman, is he not?
You've still got the case that half of the population voted for him.
Yeah. What does it say?
Half of the population have not got their guy winning. It's
and listen,
weird, isn't it?
I don't care if you are taken in by his politics or you believe, a lot of the stuff that you believe. It's just, how could you support him as a character? The guy attacks everyone. He's the epitome of the bad. He's a really just, I don't get it.
I didn't find out until recently that he was in a Home Alone film, apparently.
Was he?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, he may have popped up for a third of a second.
I think you've also got an aspect of celebrity status that may have helped.
No, I get all of that. That's what I'm saying. I get that completely. But when you look behind the door, as it were, and people have had plenty of time to do that over the last 4 years. And when you see the way that he conducts business, everything from his taxes to, his treatment of women to the way he attacks everyone and everyone, whatever party they're with, depending on how they respond to him, the attacks are vicious. To the downright lies. I get the celebrity bit, but once you see all of that stuff, I mean, how the heck do 70 odd million people vote for him? I'm astounded.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question for one of those people, really. I suppose, you see all these videos of people with these, I call them the mock reporters, where they go to these Trump rallies and actually mock them by asking them some questions.
And to be honest, I accept that there'll be a percentage of people who will fall into that category of, do you know what? They just believe, right? And I get that, but there's not 70 million of those. And I can see even on my timeline on Facebook, plenty of intelligent people that I know in the States, through business or whatever else, that will, absolutely support Trump through everything. And I just don't get it. I don't understand it. It's like, it's an at all costs partisan following. It's like they would follow him into the fire if that's where he said, good stuff was happening. I continually scratch my head over this one. I've mentioned it several times on the APAT show over the months because I just can't figure it out. I really can't. A lot of intelligent people support the guy, and I could even get it if you were to say, well, look, I support him and I'm voting for him because he is going to get me lower taxes and that means more money for me, right? I could understand that. But actually, alongside that, you're bound to be saying stuff like, but he's clearly an asshole. He clearly disrespects everyone. You'd be saying that sort of stuff, but these people follow him. It's like it's a blind love.
It's weird.
Really
I mean, I'm not an expert on American politics, although I've certainly got far more knowledgeable in the last 4 years or so. But America feels very, very binary.
Yeah.
There's two options. That's it. Although you could argue it's the same in the UK, but I'd like to think in the UK there's a little bit more to it than that. But it very much feels once you've kind of nailed your colors there in America, that's it. It's very tough for you to then change to the other side. You know, I suppose it'd be like, you know, you're either an Everton or a Liverpool fan, or a City or United fan, or a Forest or a County fan. You know, it's a you know, whatever it might be, Celtic or Rangers. And I guess it's, yeah, to a certain extent, that once you're there, and it's very different. You know, there have to be a hell of a lot would have to go on to make you change. Because although you might not be a huge fan of the current incumbent, it's the party, isn't it? It's what they believe in and what you've grown up with, and therefore you would be hard pushed to be told any different.
Yeah, using the football analogy, if you're a Forest fan, regardless of who the Forest manager is, or regardless of who the 11 players are that Forest put out, you support Forest, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sort of similar along those lines.
But listen, here's the thing. So the Republicans are like blue collar, right? They're the working man. And the Democrats are a little more Tory-like, as it were. So if the leader of your Labour Party, for example, so your Sir Keir Starmer or your Jeremy Corbyn or whatever, if that person was, you know, a reputed multi-billionaire who doesn't pay his taxes, and, you know, is shown to have been involved in several, you know, failed businesses and you know, quite fraudulent type cases and stuff, how does he have the credibility to carry your message, your torch?
Yeah, but he doesn't come to a lot of Americans. That's not how he comes across. He comes across as he's the guy off the telly that, you know, that fires people, and he's got all these successful.
He's draining the swamp.
Draining the swamp. He's got a big tower that's named after himself, and he
and
went
a golf
in,
course in every country.
Yeah, he's gone in with the point that, yeah, politics is corrupt, and I'm going to go in and sort it out for you, for the normal guys, the working guys. I'm going to go and sort this out for you, and, you know, you can trust me to do it. Don't worry, because I'm not a politician. Yeah. That's what he actually went in on.
Yeah,
and it'd be interesting if we'd not had COVID. I think potentially he'd got another 4 years.
Oh, for sure. I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think he runs again in 4 years?
I think so.
Probably.
Do you think he runs again?
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Well, the scary thing, you know, there's not actually many others out there. If you look at who's coming through, or younger politicians or people in politics in America, and think, well, who are they, you know, grooming or priming to be the candidates for the next 4, 8, 12 years? There's not a lot there at the moment. That really makes you.
Yeah, and I guess one of the points is, if Trump does choose to run again, there aren't going to be too many up-and-comers who'll want to take him on, because he plays dirty, you know, and who's going to fund them, and who, you know, how do you beat Trump in a tough 6-month battle to win a primary? Very, very challenging. So where's the incentive to run against him?
I don't see Biden doing a second term.
No,
but I think they potentially, in 4 years' time, have Harris there who will will potentially step up, and
provided they do a good job.
And as long as they don't drop the ball in the next 4 years, and then they've got, you know, they're on a good grounding. Obviously, Trump is going to come back with, well, I got all these votes, you know, 4 years ago, so I'm there for another shot. And as you say, who else is going to? Tom Banks says he reckons Don Jr. has suggested he may run.
Christ. I tell you what. If Trump Senior is bad, Trump Junior.
Yeah, I don't know whether you'll have done another subscription, but Jen insisted on us signing up to BritBox only for one program. Basically, we're on a BritBox subscription at the moment for one program, and that is because the return of Spitting Image.
No, really, didn't know it was coming back.
If you've not, well, Des, if you have not seen, there are 10 episodes of Spitting Image. They're only about 20 minutes long. Sign up for $5.99 for BritBox for a month.
Where would I find BritBox?
They're all. You'll get it on.
Go on the line.
Let me say Apple TV, or it's on all the. It's an app on all of the stuff. So, but seriously, 10 episodes of Spitting Image. You will honestly, it's just, they have a coronavirus puppet on the show that Trump calls Caroni. It's his friend Caroni. Yeah, seriously, it is just the best thing ever. It really is. You say, just go and pay for it for a month, watch it. You'll binge watch all 10 of them because, as I say, 10 in the first run. It's fantastic.
I think
absolutely
we might do
fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't hold back on Trump in the slightest. They really go for it. So very, very good.
Okay.
And it's
Note
interesting
number
because
2.
BritBox was obviously designed, I think, to try and sell BBC and ITV and Channel 4 content outside of the UK. So I'd imagine that it's had quite serious take up in America. Wherever. They absolutely slate Trump for a lot of it. And their current the puppets currently set up for the current conservative kind of main main group is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So well worth it.
I shall definitely keep an eye out for that.
That's 2 notes.
I think
you've made.
They might have even offered 7 days for free. So to be honest, you can
I do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Banks says
waiting.
didn't enjoy his talking anus.
Talking anus.
Don't give away too much, Tom. Honestly.
Spitting image used to be
if you wanted to know
phenomenal.
if you wanted to know where all of Trump's tweets came from, spitting image explains all.
Okay.
But
I could
it's the sort of thing
actually
you kind of think you thought would never come back.
Yeah.
You'd have thought spitting image was of its time because it's latex puppets basically, isn't it? And you think, well, how could that ever come back into the current world where the kind of the puppet show and things, the kids stuff is now all animated, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very little is anything like, you don't have things like what you used to have, the kind of the Sesame Street,
Thomas the Tank Engine.
It's everything. Yeah, exactly. Everything's animated now, isn't it? It's all
everything's
done,
cartoon. Yeah.
Thomas looked at the fat controller. Can't say that today. You
Ringo
can't
Starr
say it today.
impression?
Was that your best Ringo? Was it really?
That was my best Ringo.
Was that your best Ringo there?
That was Ringo. There you
Considering the amount of time you spend in Liverpool, that is awful. It really is.
go. Hold on, I've been in Liverpool more than Ringo has. Are you kidding?
Yeah. How did Liverpool get into Tier 2? I meant to ask because you had fans in the ground. What's that all about?
We burned the virus over the last several weeks in celebrating the Premier League and all of that other stuff. We've been burning through that virus at a rate of knots. We brought out our dead, and basically there's not many left. I mean, they even whipped the mayor away there a couple of days ago. You saw that, did you?
Yes. Well,
it's incredible.
It's proper scandalous. We've not talked about on the show because we didn't talk last week about it. It was Klopp's interview after the Brighton game.
Oh, it's just.
What's your view on that?
I don't want to.
What's your view on that, Des?
Don't get me started on that. I don't have too many negatives on Klopp. I mean, he's been a breath of fresh air. I sort of agree with the principle of what he's saying, but to justify spending 7 or 8 minutes with Des Kelly, to debate it over and back in a very soft discussion style.
But Des Kelly gave as good as he got, which made it even better.
I didn't see it that way at all. What I saw
Really?
was Klopp. Well, what I saw was Klopp, given his standard line, which is, thanks for the injury, BT Sport, because you came out and kicked James Milner in the game. And what Klopp did not expect was Des Kelly to go, no, that's not true. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
Now, at that point, I'd have, if I'm Klopp, I'd probably have said very, very forthrightly, look, you chose the 12:30 game, so we could have been on the 5:30 game. There's no point you saying, you pay all the millions and all that. I get that. We didn't have to be the 12:30 game. Right? He could have said that and just finished it, because sometimes you just have to finish a thing. But he just ended up having this over and back chat, which were just awkward. It didn't go anywhere. So, I think that was the first time I've seen Klopp, look a little adrift of where I'd like him to be. Yeah. And I think he's got back.
I thought fair play to Des Kelly, because I don't think he was going to. he kind of took the answer, and then you kind of you felt like he was thought about it for a minute and thought, well, hang on, why is this guy having a pop at me? I've not done anything wrong here. So he
listen,
decided to go, well, I'm just going to go back again. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. And Des Kelly, for his sins, is sort of, he's attached to my football page, right? So, you know, I've seen a lot of his stuff over the months. I quite like Des Kelly. I just didn't think it was his place either to be getting into that type of discussion with a football manager. I just, you know,
no, I think it's because Klopp made it personal, and so then I think it got to the point where you go, well, actually, yeah, I think at some point I'd have gone, well, actually, hang on a minute, I'm only doing my job.
Yeah,
Now,
some people might suggest that Klopp has a few gears, and that actually he sometimes gets involved in little bits of controversy here and there.
Did you see the
a bit from
was it
what's going on?
Was it Neville?
Like a drab
was
draw.
it Gary? Yeah, was it G-Nev that came out and said that was a bit Fergie-like?
Yeah, he did. And there
in
might
the-
be
you
an
know,
element to
yeah,
that, because
yeah.
Klopp does, at the right time, he defends his team, right? Numerous ways you can do it.
Des, I said that to you
Yeah.
a couple of months ago, that I said I like Klopp a lot, and actually he's got a lot of the Fergie
He's
about
got
him. in
gears,
that
right?
He deflects things away from his team, keeps the pressure off them as much as he can. It'll always be somebody else. It's us against the rest of the world, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's got all of that element to it, which is because you can be the best football coach in the world, but if you haven't got the ability to manage the media, manage the expectation and everything else that goes with the top end football, then you're not going to be a winner.
And I'll tell you what, Lee,
Mourinho does it as well. He's another one that does it.
I'll tell you what, listen, I have had a magnificent sporting day. Felt very sorry for young George in the Grand Prix. I don't know if you saw that. That was an incredible Grand Prix.
That was incredible.
Felt very sorry for him. But that aside, my county in the good old Ireland has won its All-Ireland semi-final through to the final. So they had a record score, an all-time record score up in 40 minutes. Right, they played that well in the semi-final. So, and that was then followed up by a great win for Liverpool. So I've had a fantastic sporting day. But I have to say, you know, the Reds, while from time to time they've looked less than impressive this season. And to be honest, quietly, and I was saying it last season, there were plenty of times last season when they didn't look massively impressive either, despite the amount of points that they had to spare at the end of the season. The fact that we're level at the top of the Premier League and sitting pretty in the last 16 of the Champions League, given the amount of injuries that we've had, I think is nothing short of spectacular. Because I think you've got a Chelsea team that look dangerous. You've got a Tottenham team that are doing exactly what Mourinho wants them to do. They're being dominated in games, but yet winning them. You've got a United team that is just the strangest thing ever. Right, it's hard to know what you're going to get when you switch on to watch United, but yet there they are, 4th, 5th in the league, and you've got City. You've slipped a couple of times, but actually behind the curtains, it looks like the old City is there, but yet Liverpool are sitting sort of there on top of the league, with Trent coming back this evening. Naby Keita came back this evening. Virgil van Dijk was back doing some light training. Believe it or not, light training this week. Really? And he was in the stands tonight for the first time since that injury against Everton. You'll have Alisson back shortly, but the young Irish lad who came in his place has looked fantastic. 2 big clean sheets. We're starting to see our players back now. Thiago might not be back in December. It might be January till we get him back. But we could hit Jan-Feb with actually, you know, the return of the Champions League being there or thereabouts at the top of the Premier League, with almost a fresh, full squad to choose from. Now, I'm crossing all sorts of things and touching wooden things and what have you. But it's just amazing that we're in the position that we're in at the moment, because, you know, it hasn't been a good run.
Sunday night, Des, so it's all right. You carry on. Yeah, don't.
So I'm happy.
How have you, so Glenn, how have you been coping? Because obviously you're a regular football goer. So,
Posh.
Yeah, what's the situation? Do you think you're gonna get back to seeing Peterborough at some point in the near distant future? What are they doing?
Not, because at the minute they're Peterborough, I believe, is in Tier 2, so they're allowed 2,000 fans back. I think that's right. Is that right, or is it 1,000? I didn't get a season ticket. I didn't get a season ticket this year. I didn't get a season ticket this year, so I can't see myself getting in.
Yeah.
Are there many lower league? Are there many lower league fans that actually did renew a season ticket knowing what was happening, or?
Yeah, but the club those core hardcore fans, I think at the lower level, would have still bought their season ticket because it's a way of supporting the club.
Yeah. Okay. So so that's what they've done. Yeah.
And the clubs have been quite honest. Like these subscriptions to what they did, I follow through the lower league clubs to pay £10 every week to watch your team. A portion of that money is going directly to the club. So the club is trying to sell you that subscription to pay £10 a week to watch your team online.
Yeah.
Have
you been signing up to those and watching some of those?
I've watched a couple, but I've not watched every week. I'll be honest, it's not the same for me, and therefore it takes away from what I experience as a football day. Like I look at my day as football. If I go to an away game, for example, I can turn that into being out of the house on a Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. If I'm going to an away game north of Manchester, the Oldhams, the Rochdales of this world, and sitting at home on a Saturday afternoon and paying a tenner to watch it through the laptop is not really the same for me. So I'll be honest, I've only done a couple. This season.
I didn't think 2,000 fans in the games that I saw on the weekend. I mean, it didn't seem to make that much of a difference to any sort of atmosphere. Really, it was nice to see some people in the crowd, but it wasn't for.
I think we're the level of allowing people in depending on what they're tiering should, whether it's a fixed rate of people at 1,000 or 2,000 or 2,000, 4,000. I can't remember what those limits are.
Well, what's an average gate? What's an average gate for you?
6,000.
So 2,000 in for you guys is it's a reasonable number to make a bit of noise. Yeah.
But it's probably opening the stadium at a loss.
Yeah.
Because those people have already bought season tickets that you've already refunded a third of the season back for. So a lot of that money has already gone back to people because they've not been to the X amount of games that have been played so far.
You're gonna have to staff
and now you're opening a stadium for stewards, for catering, turning the lights on, and you're only getting 2,000 people through the door that have probably already prepaid, and you've given them a third of their money back. For the lower league clubs, in my opinion, I agree with the former Crystal Palace owner who was on TalkSport. It should have probably been percentages of stadiums as opposed to a fixed figure, because you do have now, looking at Manchester, for example, you've got Rochdale, which is probably a capacity of 8,000, allowed the same amount of people through the door as Man City at the Etihad. Doesn't really make sense to me, personally.
No, I agree. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Whilst
we were talking, go on.
While clubs are, obviously they want the fans through the door, so they will operate at that loss. But you've also got, if you thought with your business head, hang on a minute, if I don't let these fans in, it'll upset them, but it probably keeps the club more sustainable in that I'm not going to lose X amount of money by opening the stadium. You've got to have a business head at certain levels as well, because those fans will not have a club to come back to if their club operates at a loss every week.
No, it doesn't. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I don't think there's a right solution. I'm hoping that we'll get through kind of December, and then they'll have another look at it in January and start being a bit more sensible with it. And the sooner the fans can get back, the better. Well, that's it. We're done for the night. The poker squads is all finished. Barry Simpson went in heads up with a reasonable chip lead on Richard Stockford from Canada, but Richard rivered a diamond to get a flush, and then eventually got the better of Barry. So Richard Stockford finishes in first night, picks up $123. Barry Simpson in second for 86. Going to give a quick mention to third place, Stephen Healy, the Adelaide Bull. He's the other guy that's played all 245 games in a row.
Incredible.
So Steve, hats off to you, my friend, and finishing third tonight. So very well done to you. So just in conclusion, game week 35. Michelle, she was leading the MVP, but unfortunately both Frank and Brendan overtook her tonight. Frank ended up being MVP, first time in 35 weeks. Very well done to you, Frank. Great achievement. Brendan in second. Michelle finished in third in the end. And the Celtic Storm guys have done the three-peat, as Shug put it in the chat earlier on. Brian, Shug, Frank, and Brendan, 3 in a row, guys. That is super impressive, especially as the numbers have gone up the past couple of weeks. The Lockdown crew, Danny Weaver, Pete Wigglesworth, Graham Pound, and Tom Banks, they finished runners-up for this week. Big shout out to the Sunday Roller. Richard King picked up $634, and he's going to get the chocolates, so we'll get those in the post to him for the advent calendar. Well done to you. Nico Tiskovich finishes in second for $434, and Corey Roseberry turned $3.30 feeder into $300 profit for a third place finish. Well done to Summerbrook. He won the heads up against Brendan Byrne. We'll make sure that money did go in your account. I think it did. He did message me, so well done to you. Don't forget, it's going to be advent calendar again from tomorrow, and that runs right the way through to the 24th. A couple more weeks of poker squads before we'll take a break over Christmas. And Glenn's going to be announcing the Dusk Till Dawn Christmas schedule hopefully tomorrow, so keep your eyes out for that, because I've seen it and it's well worth playing.
Tuesday, Yep, tomorrow or Tuesday we'll announce that. 30 grand's worth of guarantees between Christmas and New Year.
Fantastic. There is something to look forward to. Thanks for that, Lee. Well done to all of the winners, as Lee pointed out. Thanks to all of you guys who played with us this week, and good luck playing next week. Lee and I are back on Sunday night. We have a guest, haven't we, Lee? Can we announce?
Tom Banks.
It's Mr. Banks. We can announce. Let's do it. Tom will be very interesting. Looking forward to having Tom on the show. But really, final word of the night goes to Glenn, who joined us tonight. Glenn, full value. Really do like having you on.
Thanks, guys.
We've got to do it again early in the new year, I guess. It should be. Should be what we aim for. Yeah,
100%.
So outside of that, my friend, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and we look forward to reconnecting. Yeah, at that time. Okay, guys, I guess that's a wrap then. So we shall let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening, and have a good week next week. Night-night.
Take care, guys.